네, 안녕하세요. 드디어 오늘 큰 거 옵니다. 큰 거 옵니다, 오늘. 큰 거 와야 하고. 오늘은 큰 거 옵니다. 정의 임무가 나올 거죠, 오늘. 오늘 기대가 많이 됩니다. 뭐가 나올지. 네, 이게 바로 다음 주에 적용돼요. 웬만한 것들은 다. 정의 임무가 어떻게 될지도 모르겠는데, 웬만한 건 다 다음 주에 적용돼요. 정의 임무 티어리스트? 정의 임무 티어리스트라. 사람들이 공감할지 모르겠는데? 그 전에 저는 경위 임무 자체를 별로 안 좋아해요. 근데 경위 임무 자체를 안 좋아하는 거는 옛날 경위 임무의 그 시간 제한이 약간 불편하다는 것이 좀 한몫한 거겠지. 그 경위 임무 옛날부터 다 해보신 분들은 아실지 모르겠는데 그 속삭임 임무나 게시 시간 같은 경우에는 시간 제한이 좀 셌죠? 딱 난이도가 게시 시간이 영웅 버전이 있던가? 기억이 안 나는데. 그래서 지금은 시간 제한이 없기도 하죠. 뭐, 개가 있긴 한데, 어순풀의 한이 시간 제한이 좀 있긴 한데, 그랬죠. 걔도 영웅 버전이 있었죠. 꽤 빡셌어. 그냥 기본적으로 게시 시간 자체가 난이도가 빡셌죠. 왜냐면은 게시 시간 같은 경우에는 그 뭐지? 쉔크가 그놈의 쉔크가 그 모든 속성의 보호막을 다 두르고 등장하지 않나? 공허 있고 태양 있고 전기 있고 그랬지 않았나? 그래서 석궁을 반필수로 들고 갔을 거예요. 석궁이랑 저 같은 경우에는 요트를 들고 왔거든요. 왜냐면은 석궁 같은 경우에는 보호막을 가리지 않고 약점 데미지를 맞출 수 있기 때문에 썼고 요툰 같은 경우에는 그 뭐지? 제가 요튼을 쓰는 이유는 깡댐이 워낙 세다 보니까 그 쉔크를 그냥 한 방에 터트렸어요. 약점 그딴 거 무시하고 그냥 일단 빵! 뻥! 터져가지고. 그래서 저는 요트를 좀 더 자주 썼습니다. 그때는. 게시 시간 같은 경우에는 게시 시간 같은 경우에는 또 그 뭐지? 중간에 또 퍼즐이 있잖아요. 가는 길도 복잡하기도 하고 또 또 마지막쯤 가면은 또 이거 문 따야 하는 퍼즐도 있고 문 따야 하는 퍼즐도 있고 또 뭐지? 그놈의 살인 기계 미래도 있고 또 뭐가 있지? 또 문 따서 들어가면은 알맞는 발판에 올라가서 걸어가야 돼. 그 지금의 걔 있잖아요, 걔. 그 뭐였지? 세라프 경임, 세라프 방어 작전이랑 똑같은 퍼즐 맵이 있어. 네, 방송 시간 때 돌아오세요. 네, 안녕하세요. 그놈의 발판 퍼즐, 극혐이야. 그놈의 발판 퍼즐. 개인적으로 별로 안 좋아했어요, 발판 퍼즐. 집중 망했다는 게 어떠한 집중을 말하는 거죠? 조금 약간 풀어서 설명해 줄 수 있나? 사냥 시즌 무기 같은 경우에는 그게 컨셉이긴 했어요. 그냥 아예 사람들이 사용하지 않는 특성들을 최대한 조합하면은 좋은 게 나오지 않을까? 라는 게 컨셉인데 철저하게 실패한 컨셉이죠. 철저하게 망했습니다. 그 컨셉은. 시작하려면은 1시간 정도 남았어요. 지금 보면 50분? 50분 정도 남았으니까 야식을 먹고 싶으신 분들은 야식을 드시고 오시던가 그러시면 될 것 같아요. 이끼 사냥을 원하는 게 아니라 사냥 시즌 무기를 다시 원한다 할 수 있겠죠. 사냥 시즌 무기 자체가 그렇게 나쁜 건 아니야. 디자인 자체가 나쁘진 않아요. 정찰 소총이라던가 그 기관 단총 같은 경우에는 디자인이 이뻐. 특성 풀이 좀 처참하게 구렸죠. 특성 풀이 워낙 처참하게 구리다 보니까 이번 격파자 집중했는데 다 실패했다. 그건 그건 제가 어떻게 할 수 있는 게 아니죠. 아니 운빨이 없는 걸 내가 어떻게 해야 되는 거지? 아, 사냥 시즌 같은 경우에는 특성 뽑기를 그 뭐지, 무기 뽑기를 할 때 특성을 뺄 수 있는 게 있죠. 그 시스템은 나쁘지 않았지. 근데 문제는 좋은 특성도 싹 다 빼버린다는 게 문제였지. 좋은 특성도 빼버리는 게 문제라서. 좋은 것 빼기, 더한 것 빼기 이렇게 해가지고 최악을 최대한 배제하려고 하는 시스템. 이론은 좋았지. 문제는 이론만 좋았지. 이걸 보면서 라면을 먹는 게 맞는 선택지냐고요? 그냥 이 방송을 본다는 것 자체가 맞는 선택지는 아닌 것 같은데. 이거 보면서 선택지가 맞다고 생각하는 거야, 혹시? 이번 방송에서 말해주는 거는, 방송으로 메모장을 어떻게 꺼내나? 텍스트로 이렇게 해야 되나? 잠깐만. 어? 자, 첫 번째가 정의 임무 소개. 이게 두 개 있다 했죠? 클래식, 클래식, 임무 두 개. 더 줄여야 되네. 이렇게. 이렇게 있고, 그 다음이 그 제작 무기. 제작 무기가 있고, 세 번째가 실현 의장. 이게 5월쯤이었나? 실현 의장 새로운 맵. 이게 5월쯤인 걸로 알고 있어요. 근데 이건 그 전에 이미 5월에 나온다고 발표했었어요. 선각자 오면 무조건 사냥 시즌 말고는 없어요. 사냥 시즌 무기라서 선택지가 없음. 그나마 그나마 응용을 한다면 포세이큰 때 처음 등장한 그 비엉킨 해양 무기를 예로 악동 또 뭐 있지? 그 에테르 의사 또 뭐지? 산탄총 시리즈 파동소총 시리즈 이게 결국은 악의 편이고 악의 편 또 넌센스 이게 있죠. 그리고 여기에 활도 있지. 전설활 전설활 그 다음에 그 다음에 선을 넘으면 그 그 뭐지? 그 보조무기 있잖아요. 보조무기 걔 누구였더라? NPC 거 보조무기. 베스티아 마운족. 얘까지도 나올 확률이 있죠? 그리고 더 선 넘어서 생각을 해본다면 듀크까지도 생각해볼 만하죠. 듀크까지? 하지만 하지만 별 이유 없으면 무조건 사냥이에요. 선택지가 없어요. 그때는 그 뭐지? 심해, 대항, 뭐 있지? 소원, 그리고 이것도 뭐였지? 소원, 마녀. 얘네들은 나중에 나오겠죠? 뭐지? 마녀는 대놓고 인바로 던져 놓으면 올 개꿀 이러면서 할 듯? 대항은 대항은 대놓고 그게 있잖아요. 그 뭐지? 오버라이드. 그리고 심해는 그걸 경임으로 내줄지 모르겠는데 그 정찰 소총 경위. 정찰 소총 경위 그거 사악한 구현 맞아. 사악한 구현. 그다음에 마녀 여왕, 마녀 시즌은 임바로? 이번 소원이 그 소원 소자인가? 소원 소자? 소원 파수꾼. 여기는 숨겨진 임무라서 딱히 기억이 안 나요. 거기는 비운이 맞죠. 뭐지? 소원 파수꾼은 비운이지. 그다음에 마녀 시즌은 없었잖아. 대충. 네, 마녀가 따지고 보면은 크로타 나오고 퉁친 시즌이죠. 근데 저는 개인적으로 마녀의 시즌 자체는 호평하는 편이에요. 마녀의 시즌 활동 자체가 난이도가 높진 않아가지고 난이도 높은 거는 다 걷다 던져놔서 그 뭐지? 소환의 재단으로 던져놔가지고 기본 활동 자체가 난이도가 높진 않아. 적어도 내 소환의 재단으로 가서 내가 높은 난이도를 시도를 할 수 있게 바꿔놨지. 대놓고 소환의 시즌 그놈의 단계별로 어떻게든 꾸역꾸역 난이도 올려가지고 강제시키는 것보단 낫지. 정의 임무가 없으니까 엑스 디리스 뿐이라고 해야겠죠. 그 뭐지? 그나마 변수를 생각해 본다면은 그 예지를 예시로 들 수 있죠. 예지가 악령의 시즌하고 그리고 이게 뭐였더라? 풍요의 시즌 무기 나오잖아요. 이게 제작 무기. 이런 것처럼 이런 예시처럼 아예 시즌 무기를 다른 경위 임무랑 엮어서 출시할 수도 있죠. 드랍풀이 많아지지만 그만큼 해야 할 이유가 더 늘어나는 것도 있죠. 물론 반복 플레이에 이 지루함은 어쩔 수 없지. 그래도 묘비나 뭐 특수 케이스들을 위해서 고인물들이 뛰어 같이 뛰어주는 이유가 만들어지죠. 그 뭐지? 지금 뭐 그 활동들 다 제작하거나 파밍 끝나서 파밍 할 거 없다 이러던데 차라리 뭐 몰리 반복을 해도 같이 파밍할 꿀이 많은 게 좋지 않음? 노도 파이터 언제 주냐고요? 나야 모르지. 슬퍼의 왕관에 떠넘기자고요. 나올 수 있다면은 슬퍼의 왕관 안 나올 거라고 알고 있잖아요. 네, 안녕하세요. 오늘 야식 먹을까 고민하고 있었는데 귀찮아서 그냥 안 시켰어요. 귀찮더라고. 또 보면서 야식 먹는 것도 맞나 싶어가지고 귀찮아서 그만뒀어. 노도 파이트 있죠? 노도 바로크, 노도 바로크, 노도 바로크 파이트가 있죠. 노도 바로크 파이트 좋은데? 네, 망령의 시대 나왔죠. 한 주에 한 번 확정 파이트 아닌가? 저는 거기서 파밍하기 전에 이미 다 파밍을 해놓은 상태이기 때문에 저는 안 해봤어요. 아니, 나는 다 있는 걸. 저는 입장이 많이 다릅니다. 난 이미 다 했어. 그냥 그 뭐지? 그 활동을 오랜만에 해보고 싶은 걸 그래서 한번 하는 거지. 아, 고인물들은 다 예지 복각전에 뚫어놓죠. 고인물이 아니라 꾸준히 이 게임을 한 사람들은 그런 경위 임무가 추가되기 전에 이미 다 뚫어놨죠. 복각이란 말은 예전에 발매되어 있던 책이나 상품을 재출시하는 것을 의미한다. 어떠한 뜻인지 알고 싶으면 나무위키를 찾아보세요. 근데 뭐가 돌아오든 일단 돌아오고 일단 돌아오라고. 빡개 시리. 일단 돌아와 젠장. 최신 게임들 용량 생각해서 그냥 다 복각했습니다. 근데 그러기에는 문제가 있는 게 뭐냐면은 그 그 걔가 문제예요. 걔 엑스박스 1, 플레이스테이션 3, 플레이스테이션 4구나. 엑박 1이랑 풀4를 아직도 지원하는 거 알아요? 이 게임? 걔네들 버려야 돼. 걔네들을 버려야 그 뭐지? 다른 게 추가되죠. 근데 아직 걔네들 못 버렸잖아. 물론 이 게임 자체가 그걸 지원하긴 해요. 그 뭐지? 스마트 딜리버리. 그러니까 내가 만약에 플레이스테이션 5 버전으로 샀다. 그러면은 내가 플레이스테이션 5가 있다. 그러면 내가 플레이스테이션 4에 있던 그 구매 정보를 5로 옮길 수 있어요. 네, 오늘도 방송해요. 오늘이 마지막 방송이에요. 네, 데스티니 트위치가 아니라 번지 트위치일 거예요. 번지 트위치랑 번지 그 유튜브를 통해서 방송할 겁니다. 만약에 그 문양을 원하신다면은 이번이 마지막 기회예요. 폴포랑 액박이 문제야. 그죠? 지원 안 하면은 욕하는 사람들이 있지. 또 이러지. 아, 이것들 또 돈 많은 얘네들만 대우하네. 이렇게 되는 거지. 야, 요즘 세상에 아직도 풀포로 게임하는 사람이 어딨어? 한국인들 입장 그거지. 야, 이제 다 풀5로 갈아탄 거 아니었어? 물론 풀 풀5나 그 백박 백박 새로운 시리즈 걔 같은 경우에는 그게 그 차세대 게임이라고 할 수 있는 게임들이 없지. 그나마 스파? 그나마 그나마 스파이더맨 시리즈라던가 갓오브? 걔네들이 그나마 바깥판다 하지 않나? 그죠? 그 와중에 스트리트 파이트 그 뭐 스파이더맨 2는 플스 독점이다. 물론 저는 플스가 없죠. 저는 콘솔이 없어요. 데스티니 3가 나오면서 그런 거 싹 다 손절하고 갔어야 되는데. 하지만 그렇게 되면서 사람들이 흩어지는 게 별로였겠지. 만약에 데스티니 3 새로 나왔어요 했는데 뭐지 이거? 싶으면은 바로 데스티니 2로 돌아갈 거니까. 만약에 지금 방식을 데스티니 3라는 것에서 해봤다 생각해봐요. 데스티니 3 망했지. 진짜 망했겠지. 그러니까 사람을 확실히 묶어놓으려고 데스티니 2로 해서 계속 발전시키는 걸로 갔겠지. 물론 이걸 발전이라고 할지는 모르겠지만. A씨가 미래를 바꾸는 건 실패했지. 좀 처참히 실패했지. 게임비를 깎을 거면은 AI를 적극적으로 도입하는 수밖에 없어요. 근데 이제부터 AI를 도입한다 쳐도 아예 게임을 새로 만들어야 되잖아. 지금 코딩 시스템을 AI한테 접목시켜도 데스티니 2는 어쩔 수 없지. 그리고 또 그렇게 되면은 또 사람 또 잘라나갈 거야. 그죠? 게임 엔진 그 뭐지? AI가 게임 엔진에 익숙해지는 것부터가 문제지. 왜냐면은 데스티니 같은 경우에는 언리얼을 쓰는 게 아니다 보니까 타이거 엔진이라는 자신들만의 독특한 엔진을 쓰죠. 그걸 이제 AI한테 도입한다 쳐도 제대로 될지도 미지수지. AI가 이거 못 해먹겠네 하면서 퇴 뱉을 수도 있어. 퇴 뱉으면서 언리얼 쓰라고! 에이 퇴! 언리얼 쓰라고! 근데 언리얼 쓰면은 번지한테 문제점이 이거 다 그 뭐지? 걔한테 돌려 그 뭐지? 걔한테 줘야 되잖아. 파이 되면은 이제 걔한테 줘야 돼요. 에픽한테 돈 줘야 되잖아. 그나마 좀 더 생각을 해본다면은 걔네 엔진을 사용하는 것도 괜찮지 않을까 생각이 들어요. 걔네 엔진 뭐냐? 걔네 엔진 걔네끼리 뭐 있지? 크라이 엔진은 아니지. 크라이 엔진은 언제 쪽이야? 요즘 요즘 크라이텍 살아 있어요? 뭐지? 마블 스파이더맨이 무슨 엔진 썼냐? 그래. 인썸니악 엔진. 마블 스파이더맨에 썼던 엔진 있잖아. 아니면은 그 갓오버 엔진 있잖아요. 갓오버 3 엔진이 얘네도 자체 엔진이긴 하네. 바이오웨이는 거의 거 쓸걸요? 그 뭐지? 배필 3 거. 프로스트바이트. 프로스트바이트 쓰다가 걔네들 안 돼가지고 언리얼로 바꾼 걸로 알고 있거든요? 언리얼 5로. 프로스트바이트가 뭔가 깨부수고 터트리고 그런 건 좋은데 문제는 그거를 RPG 게임성하고는 안 맞았다고 해요. 그래서 많이 망했죠. 많이 망했죠. 그래도 프로스트바이트가 좋았던 점은 확실히 뭔가 깨부수고 터트리는 거는 엄청났죠. 예시로 가장 커다란 예시가 배틀필드 배드 컴퍼니. 배드 컴퍼니 그거 캠페인 해봐도 그냥 조금이라도 알 수 있는데 그냥 모든 게 그냥 다 산산조각 나. 배필 3랑 배필 4 걔네들보다 훨씬 더 심하게 부서져요. 따지고 보면은 배필 3랑 배필 4가 그나마 정상 참작한 거라고 할 수 있어. 진짜 와장창 나거든요. 이니가 한번 긁으면 그냥 세상이 무너졌어. 더 파이널스가 뭐였더라? 더 파이널스도 자체 엔진 쓰지 않나? 아 얘는 언리얼 5네. 그러니까 최적화가 이 모양이구만. 원래 언리얼은 최적화의 신 아니었나? 원래 언리얼은 최적화의 신 아니었나? 왜 내가 알던 언리얼이랑 지금의 언리얼은 다르지? 가끔 이해가 안 돼. 사양이 언리얼이니까 깔깔깔 헐씨고. 야 아주 웃겨가지고 박장대소를 해야겠어. 근데 근데 그 드립은 부장님한테 쓸 수 없어요. 부장님은 컴퓨터 게임을 안 하기 때문에 이해를 못해. 우리같이 게임이나 하는 그런 컴돌이들만 그나마 이해하지. 이번에는 경위 임무와 제작 무기와 실외장 맵이 나옵니다. 실외장 맵은 아마 5월 때쯤에 등장할 거예요. 공식적으로. 왜냐면은 얘네들이 이미 그때 나온다고 발표를 했거든. 시장 맵은 그때 나온다 했어. 5월 때쯤? 한 또 5, 60면 되나? 아 맞아 만신전이란 것도 나온다 했지. 근데 만신전이 뭔가? 긴 해요. 만신전이 영어로 뭐? 여기 만신전이 영어로 뭐라 나왔더라? 나온다.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's good to see y'all. Welcome to our third of 3 developer live streams to talk about all the cool stuff coming up with Destiny 2 Into the Light. My name's Andy. I work on the social media team here at Bungie, and we've got an awesome set of topics to go ahead and cover today. But first things first, we wanted to go ahead and remind you guys of one clarification we made. For starters, all of the weapons in the Brave Arsenal will now be releasing on April 30th. So,
채팅
just as a quick
없을까요?
reminder, all those weapons will be available for you to farm over the course of Onslaught. There's many ways with which you can go about it. For starters, obviously, you can go ahead and attune yourself to a weapon. So whether you want to go ahead and grab that recluse that you've had your eye on for so long, you've got the opportunity to go ahead and do that over the course of Onslaught. Also, there's going to be the chest up by Shax as well, so you can go ahead and farm some additional rolls there. But worry not, you'll have plenty of chances to dive in, grab the weapons you want, whether it be through our site's quest lines or otherwise. Those opportunities will be wide open and available.
시간 복각이네.
We have a whole new set of topics to discuss today.
대놓고 야 이거 나온다.
A look at the PvP map pack, and
이러고 있잖아 지금.
details at the end that we'll go ahead and share with you in just a bit. But as usual, it won't just be me talking through it. So let's go ahead and tell you about the wonderful folks I have here just to my left. Some incredible developers here at Bungie. We'll go ahead and start with the gentleman here to my left. Friend of the show, one and only Mr. Tom Farnsworth, Senior Design Lead here at Bungie. Tom, welcome back.
그래요. 뒤에 위스퍼도 있네.
We couldn't possibly let you go.
No,
그냥 대놓고 이거 나온다고 대놓고 표기하고 있구만.
Yeah, really here to talk about all the great work the team has done and these individuals here with us today. And we're going to talk about some exotic missions,
Yes.
some rewards associated with them, and some PvP stuff. So let's dive in. Let's talk to everybody else here.
Great stuff. We also have
번지 스토어라는 번지 전용 홈페이지 가면은 다 팔고 있어요. 저런 것들. 몇몇 개들은 팔 거 있어요.
Rob, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you. We have a lot of fun stuff. We were talking before the show about a lot of cool stuff. We'll have plenty of fun details to dive into here in just a little bit. And of course, the one and only
또
Willie
속독새
Chang,
헬멧 팔고
activity
있던 것
designer here
같던데,
at
내가
Bungie.
알기로.
How you doing, Willie? Good morning.
I'm doing well.
For the folks at home that may not be familiar with you or your work,
왕폭이랑 벌레 속삭이면 뭐 기억이 안 나는데
Designer.
속독새 헬멧은 팔고
for
있어요.
The Light. I worked on the 0 Hour reprise.
Excellent. Well, with that, we may as
지금
well start diving
왔다고요?
into the
이제
show.
시작했어요.
And we have a lot of cool stuff to start with. In addition to, like we mentioned, some awesome reprised exotic missions, including the Whisper and 0 Hour, which will both
확정이네요.
feature, pardon me, craftable
게시
versions
시간이랑
of them.
위스퍼.
But let's go ahead and start at the top with the Whisper. We've had a chance to go ahead and kind of pull back the curtain and look behind the scenes a little bit. Let's go ahead and start from the very top. Rob, you were there when it all started. Why did Bungie make the Whisper to begin with?
Well, I think in the first few months of D2, I want to say like the first 3 to 5 months, we felt like there weren't enough secrets in the game. It felt like the game was pretty well known, you know, and kind of like discovered. And it just needed some big secret to be found by the players. And we thought that that would excite our community quite a bit. Like it would just go over really well. We hoped it would at least.
Yeah.
And we had all this nostalgia for
속삭임을 만든 이후
I mean, one day we were just sitting in a
이유,
conference room and we're like,
이후가
what
아니라
if we just made another Black Spindle mission, but we made it a lot bigger,
Yeah.
right?
Speaking of, we've got here on screen kind of some, if we can call it as such,
Yeah.
original concept art, you'd say, for the
Yeah,
Whisper.
it's concept art.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at
속삭임
here?
컨셉 아트래요.
Well, that's actually the very first whiteboard drawing when we got all excited and we ran and found a conference room and we started, you know, drawing what this could do,
Yeah.
what we would want to build. And really, this kind of shows some of the magic formula. You know, like we had a contract, really, that we called it a contract. And this was an unspoken agreement between us as devs and the hardcore, super engaged players.
Yeah.
And it really was, if you can pass a test where your mind is going to be tested, your fighting, right?
Yeah.
Is going to be tested, and you're going to be able
솔직히 저도 못 알아보겠어요,
to
이거.
pass these tests, right?
Yeah.
Your movement, your mind, your fighting.
Yeah.
If you can get past these tests, you're going to be rewarded with great power.
Yeah.
And that was the contract. And so one of the other things we did, and you can see it up here in the upper left,
Yeah.
is there's a little crack, and then the path continues.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's the red herring. And so we thought, well, rather than
속삭임
leave players
임무를
by the
만든
nose,
이유는
a bunch of
옛날에
videos
있었던
and make it
경위
really obvious what you're supposed to
임무처럼
do.
숨겨진 요소를 찾아내는 것에 대한 기쁨을 주기 위해서
And when they go down
만들었대요.
the path that they think is right, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, and they go blazing right past
최초
the
그
actual
설계
opening.
안이.
Yeah.
And so we knew or we were pretty confident that that was going to appeal to the hardcore players because once they learned the path,
Right.
they could then bring their friends in and show them, and then we would have the videos, you
Yeah.
know, with the walkthroughs, and it would just appeal to,
Yeah.
to
As they
those
let their
sorts of
friends
people.
go first that first time to watch
Yeah.
them fall off the
Yeah,
edge
yeah.
helplessly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, too, is, you know, to kind of focus a little bit more on the art direction as well. I think, to put it lightly, the vibe in The Whisper is pretty intense. Can you tell us what it was like kind of imagining that space and bringing it to life?
Yeah, well, we wanted this like intense mystery vibe, right? The mystery of I'm on IO and I found this place that I've never seen, I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And where does it go, right? And that mystery, and also the feeling of dread.
Yeah.
And so
There's a lot of that.
yeah, and it's easy to get a vibe if you listen to one type of music, for example.
Right.
So we were watching Stranger Things and listening to the soundtrack, and I got really into you know, building this traversal puzzle. It has a really consistent vibe because it was just one type of music that was listened to for the whole thing. Yeah.
Speaks to my Hotline Miami fan
Yeah.
inside, honestly. Yeah. Also, too, is we've got another picture as well of the infamously titled Green Room as well. There was a really cool anecdote you had kind of about the development process of this. What was it like bringing this kind of very iconic, I guess I'd say, Destiny room to life?
Yeah, well, this is funny because there was this thing that we wanted to try, right? Make a room that has a trap in the center, that if you mess up, you end up going down the trap and you get punished for it. And when you get out, you end up back in the room. And it just happens again and again and again. And there's all these different ways that you try to find your way out of this room.
Right.
So the test was to make a tiny version of this, like 1/4 scale. And we brought it into the playtest lab. We had Cosmo and Dylan. We had a bunch of our testers and designers in there.
Yeah.
And I just waited, right? And I waited for someone to find the hidden shortcut, right? Like what would happen?
탁지점이
What's gonna happen
작아서.
when they find that hidden shortcut?
근데 스케이팅 하는
And so the first
사람들은
person
그런 거
that
신경
found
안
it, they
쓰죠.
just screamed and started laughing, and then
아무튼
everybody started
스케이팅 해볼
finding it.
거임. 그래서
Based on
성공하면은
that reaction, we
개꿀
knew we
이렇게
had
되는
something
거지.
good, and then it got scaled up into what you see here, and back to the vibe
스케이팅 하는
thing
사람들은
again.
그런 거 신경 안 써요.
When this got built, all I did was listen to Black Sabbath, the first 6 albums, like over and over.
Yeah.
So it just has that really consistent vibe all the way through. And that's just a trick that the whole team uses to get.
스케이팅 하는 사람들은 그거 성공할 때까지 하는 거지.
We're going
원래
to
그
also
사람들
too start
그랬어.
to jump in the activity so we can see this this vibe up close and personal as well. But here we are. We're back in the Whisper as well. Really quickly too, off the top, Willie, when it comes to bringing these encounters forward, bringing them to the
35분이네.
modern era of Destiny, what were some of the bigger challenges that you'd say you have to overcome in order to make sure that they were fitting for today's sandbox?
Yeah, so sandbox-wise, players nowadays pack a lot more power than they did before. People can clear entire rooms of ads from these activities back when they were in their original state.
Yeah.
Just like extremely
36분은
quickly.
넉넉한 게
So we
아니라
had to
그냥
beef up the number of
레이드를 그냥
combatants
주는
that
거지
are in
그냥.
these encounters, and later on I might talk more about additional
야
tools.
제작진이 10칼로 해서
We
넘어가네.
can come back to that in a second, but I think also too, really quickly, back in the day,
야, 그냥
there was
제작진이
a
10칸에서
very
넘어가네.
bespoke way of getting into the Whisper. You had
Yeah.
kind of hang out on IO, wait for this mysterious portal to come up.
Yep.
야,
but
우리도
we
할 줄
made
알아.
some changes to that as well. I think you were mentioning before. we
야
jumped on the
우리가
air.
만들었는데
yeah,
우리가
that was
못 할
very
줄
cool,
알아?
right? We had the public event with the RNG, and you had to wait for the right one. And one time I tried to take a coworker through on a Saturday, and we
Yeah.
spent like 7 hours just
Yeah.
trying to get a few runs because of the public event.
Right.
And that we just had to change that, right? And the team was excited about having a new, benefactor, a new character that you go and talk to. So you'll be talking to Eris Morn. Eris Morn is going to tell you some really cool stuff. I don't want to give it away.
Smart. Yeah.
But you're not going to have to deal with the frustrating trigger to get in anymore.
Excellent. No, that's always good to hear. Giving a chance, especially if people are going to come back in here multiple times.
뭐야?
build up their
발판을
craft
만들 수
exotics.
있네? 원래 발판
Obviously a
없었잖아.
pretty key component. Also, too, is I think it's worth mentioning that this has undergone more changes than just the combat landscape.
Yeah.
For the veteran players who are coming in here, folks like myself that have maybe kind of had a lot of this committed to memory, how have you gone ahead and made sure that it's fresh for those veteran guardians out there?
발판
Yeah, well,
필요한가?
the
없는
goal
것보단 낫죠.
was,
얘로
How is this
부활시키기
gonna be
용으로는
exactly what you just said, right?
발판 있으면
if
좋지.
if I've played this 10, 15, 20 times, I've guided people through, maybe I've made a video about how to get through here. How's it going to speak to me?
이렇게
right?
죽으면은
It's gonna be
발판
cool for
시키
me to go and do
발판을
it
해서
again. And
살려야지.
that was the goal that the team had. And when we knew we were going to do this, I made my own list, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, we're going to change this, we're going to move that, we're going to. And I was really excited about it.
Yeah.
So Tom was in this meeting. So I show up, and there's like 15, 20 people, and they presented this whole plan. And I had my list all ready to go, and I was going to wait. I was going to listen to all the proposal and everything, and then
Yeah.
start giving ideas and stuff. And when they finally finished presenting this plan for how to
오,
update this thing,
튕겨날 거
I just deleted my
알아서
list because
10칼로
it was
날아가네.
way bigger and way cooler than anything that I'd come up with.
Yeah.
It's just so neat to see like a fresh take on it. So if you think you know where the chests are, if you think you know where all the secrets are, if you think you know where all the surprises are,
Yeah.
you don't, because they're different. All those old
오,
guides,
상꼭
all the old
자동
walkthroughs,
장전
they're gonna have to be
총집스네.
remade. Even though I'll just give one away. When you first get in, there's that first secret chest room on the right.
Right.
The anomaly has taken care of that. It's not there anymore.
Anomaly has
Yeah.
taken care of it.
There's
So
more surprises.
to the Steam guide writers, to the game facts writers, to the folks making their YouTube videos, a revision 2 is going to be in order sometime soon.
Oh yeah.
By the sounds of it.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Also, too, is are there any other changes that you guys are particularly excited about when it comes to the Whisper? We're going to move on to 0 Hour here in a little bit, but before we conclude our journey here, Willie, actually on your side, are there any changes in particular that you're excited about with this updated version?
I'm excited about the way that the boss fight has changed
Yeah.
for this activity.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll leave that to folks to go ahead and discover on their own when it comes to the launch date of the Whisper. But yes, this is a first look for the folks out there who are looking to go ahead and make sure that they're ready on day one. to
상자가
go ahead and add another craftable
없다고 한
exotic
것
into their
같던데.
collection.
내가 잘못 들었나? 상자
Obviously,
없다고
the
했던 걸로
Whisper is going to
기억하거든요.
be there for you, but we don't want to spoil
상자는 더
all
이상
of it.
등장하지
You'll have it in your
않습니다라고
hands soon
이야기하거든요.
enough. And also, some folks out there have already had a chance to play it, so we don't want to go ahead and uncover too many of the mysteries. Up next, we've also got obviously another iconic one, 0 Hour.
그죠, 상자 없다고
Let's
했죠.
start from the top. Can you explain, Rob, the concept behind Trevor? You've obviously got an homage to him on your.
I have my shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us a little
Yeah,
bit about what this original concept was?
So Trevor was really inspired by this. There's this Japanese game show called Takeshi's Castle, and it's been around a while. And it's great because it has all these physical challenges and people getting knocked down or flipped over and stuff and trying to get through things. And there's just a lot of comparisons to what we try to do in Destiny, and we've borrowed from that show and shows like it for a long time for cool ideas. And they have this one bit where the contestants try to get up this hill, and there's this big fake boulder that comes down the hill,
Yeah.
right? And there's these little like side rooms, like little pockets that they can try to get into. And so we were like, man, if we had something like that in the middle of this mission, that would be amazing,
Yeah.
right? And so we had this thing that we called.
어,
There it is.
아무튼
that's
일본
concept art.
만화에서
So we had this thing that we called
일본
the hazard
만화에서
for a long
영감을
time. The
받았다.
hazard is going to get
대충
you,
그런 말 하는
right?
것
It's going
같아요.
to come down at you. And on the left, you can see the original whiteboard drawing of what this could look like. And there you see the hill with the slots.
일본
We
만화
basically
보면서
lifted
와,
off
우리도
Takeshi's
저런 거
Castle.
만들어야겠어
And then that
하면서
evolved into what we
제작이 된 게
eventually
이거래요.
made as a maze,
Yeah.
right? And then there's the very first drawing of Trevor. And on the right, you can see a concept art by one of our artists named Fan Gao. And when I looked at it, it had a bit of a vacuum cleaner look. It didn't quite nail the fear.
저거
Sure.
빨간
you know,
눈깔에
which we might talk about in a
하얀
second
이빨
here. So then on
들면서
the far
달려올
right,
때
You can see the
굉장히
centipede
무섭죠.
legs and the light and
심지어
the
전용
final
사운드도
version. That's
있어.
pretty close to how
사사사사사사사사사
Yeah,
이러면서.
it feels terrifyingly familiar in some ways, we'll say. And I, kind of while we're on the legs,
Good job, Tom.
which brings up honestly another great example I'd love to touch on as well is, as a guardian myself, we've felled gods, we've fought some of the most difficult battles in the universe, whether it's against our fellow guardian
공략 만들어서
or the many
올리자고요?
foes that
내가
set foot
공략을
inside the
기억이 안
solar
나.
system. When it comes to Trevor,
내가
in
기억이 안 나.
particular, it elicits a very primal,
저도 공략 다시
sincere
봐야 돼요.
fear. How did you guys kind of elicit
심지어
that
이거
from players who
리메이크
have obviously
버전이라
gone through so much?
원래
I think
저희가
there's just,
알던
like,
것들 중에서
satisfaction
많은
in
것들이
scaring
사라져
people
있을
that's
거예요.
inherent in everybody. Like we've all scared somebody, I think, at some point. It's just super fun, right?
Yep.
So what could we do in Destiny to actually make people feel fear? And the team was super excited about how to try to tackle that problem. Because you're right? Like Guardians can just jump away and we kill everything and we're just gods.
Invisible and
God
dodge away.
killers. Yeah,
Them
exactly.
to do it. Yeah.
So how do you scare our players in the game, right? So the first step was drop you in a maze.
Yeah.
There's something in there that you cannot kill.
대시
You
시간은
can't jump up because the
40분
ceiling
정도 주네.
is just above
18분?
your head, right?
Yeah.
So those were the first three things. This thing is faster than you.
Yeah.
오,
So
보호막이
you know you're in
없네.
there with something that you can't kill that can go faster than you.
또 보호막이
And then
없네.
of
또
course we
보호막
did the
있었잖아.
centipede bottom,
Yeah.
which I have this particular
탱크가
phobia
보호막이
of
없는 것 같은데?
centipedes, like
아,
The
있구나.
fact that you took something that is such a fear and put it
yeah.
front and
와,
center,
근데
honestly,
게시시가
like,
원래 애들
it's
세가지고.
I watched this video like a week ago where this dude takes a giant centipede and lets it bite him on the arm.
Why would you do that to
I
yourself?
don't know. I almost passed out like watching this video. So centipedes terrify me. And so I thought the bottom of this thing just has to be sideways centipede legs that are made out of
예,
metal. and they
게시
just
시간하고
grind you up when it
속삭임이
catches you.
확정이에요.
And then the final piece of the formula for this thing really was to put a super bright light on it that would shine as a shadow caster across past your body so you can see your own shadow as you're trying to get away.
Yeah.
And honestly, like a lot of it was inspired by the anxiety that I feel, and I think folks on the team also felt when we talked about like the trope of a subway that's coming around the corner.
Right.
Right.
So you see that
it's always-
finite
yeah.
just clock running out
It's
in front
coming.
of you.
Yep. You see the light coming, and then you see the thing,
Yeah.
and so that really helped us figure out how to make this.
뭐야, 브라그 나오네.
This time, no Indiana.
야,
Jones, I'm
브라그
trying
넣으면
something for the best.
어떡해.
Not a chance now. Trevor's gonna chew you up, honestly. So also, we
야,
found ourselves now,
프리그
we're
넣으면
in the beginning
어떡해.
stages here of the Whisper we can see on screen. Willie, we kind of touched on this briefly
우리
over the
다
course of
죽어.
the Whisper, but can you tell us a little bit about what it was like sort of reinventing these combat spaces and the
야,
encounters
프리그
for
넣으면
Guardians in a modern
어떡해.
sandbox, especially those that are going to have
우리
the brave
다
arsenal available to them?
죽어.
Yeah, so just now you saw a brig in this encounter, which there wasn't one before. I think there's the desire to keep the the soul of the activity, which is that, oh, there's time pressure on me to finish this activity quickly, and also I'm
컨트롤
going up
누르는
against
거
powerful enemies that are
그
trying to
뭐지?
stop me from doing that.
그 윈도우 키 누른 거
So
보소.
we wanted to make
컨트롤
sure
키
that
눌러야
the
되는데 윈도우 키
combat
눌렀어.
still felt challenging even in today's sandbox. So we added some new combatants.
역시 제작진도 인간이긴 하구나.
And we also just increased the number of combatants, period, so that players had more to do with their more diverse and deadly tools.
Yeah. Guardians have plenty of those available to them. When you were developing these combat spaces as well, were there any moments where you really thought to yourself, like, all right, this is it. Like, we've really centered in on what was great about this mission originally, but this is going to
네,
be appropriately
지금
challenging. for
드롭스
today's
활성화해도 적용될 거예요.
Yeah,
근데
I think
시간이 좀 걸릴 거예요.
when we play tested it and we had everybody load up with their like new maneuverability tools, their swords, their grapples to go through the activity, and then we were expecting that like, oh, people are going to breeze through this like it's nothing, like the original 20-minute timer has to become something else. But really, all of that translated over pretty well. Like the individual sections are self-contained enough that like you can't bypass too many things by just using one new tool.
Sure.
The whole thing sort of still felt like
와,
zero
빡세
hour,
보인다.
even with your new toolbox.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Even with, we're going to go ahead and jump forward here a little bit as well, using our dev tools to take a look at Trevor as well. So for the folks out there that want to reinstill that fear in themselves, now's a brief chance to check it out. Also, too, is we're in a world where, there's strand grapples, there's shatter skating. When it came to kind of redesigning these activities, or even making, I guess, alterations more appropriately on these activities, with one like Trevor, for example, what was the challenge that you kind of had to overcome with those new movement tools in addition to the combat tools that players have available to them?
Yeah, I guess philosophically, I want to make sure that if people were speccing into being highly maneuverable, then I honor that choice and say, yeah, you're highly maneuverable. Like maybe you're in this hallway with Trevor. I don't want to be ground up by these centipede legs, so I'm going to sword skate through this so that I can have a little bit of speed on Trevor. But you still can't invalidate the challenge entirely. Trevor will still kill you if you mistime those. So they're just like different expressions of how you want to tackle these challenges, and none of those expressions like fully throw these challenges out the window.
Yeah, actually, something too that I'm seeing pop up in chat here is the mention of the timer.
Oh,
So for
no.
starters, there's also, this is normal difficulty, and there's also legend, isn't that right? Yeah, Tom, can you tell us a little bit about like any updates to the timers in these missions as well?
So, Willie,
다시 봐도 겁나 무섭네.
normal, it's 40 minutes, so we want to give players a little extra time. If you're new, we want this to be accessible. Everyone would get in there and get the
옛날엔
experience,
열
but
칼 없이 다
all of
했어,
our,
마.
like,
뭐 열 칼이요.
secrets are in the legend version.
옛날에는 열 칼 없어 다 할 수 있었어.
Thank you, chat.
어디서
In addition to these other updates you've made, are there anything or any changes you've made in particular that you're excited about that you're comfortable talking about it here?
어디서
Or is it
열
just
칼
that
가지고
you want players to
징징이야?
dive in and find out for themselves?
Yeah, so the whole secrets setup for 0 hour is different. So previously we had key cards. Those have been replaced by another secret system that you'll just have to find out more about for yourself.
Excellent.
And I'm also proud of
숨겨진 요소 님들이 잘 찾아보세요.
That's right.
대해.
Yeah, we'll hold that one close to the vest. Players will have a chance to see that on their own and see Willie's hard work in person very soon. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show as well, there's going to be craftable versions of these exotics, and we're going to check them out. But there was one more example that I wanted to ask you about, Rob, in particular. There was some discussion briefly about the acronym that is Trevor. Could you tell us what that stands for?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but I had to open my phone because it's like impossible to remember that.
We all have our notes. Yeah, it's part of the game.
So early on, the team we just realized we had to figure out an acronym for this.
일단 경위무기들은 다 제작 버전이 가능한 것 같아요.
I went to school with a kid named Trevor who was the nicest kid in the entire school. Just nice to everybody to a fault, right? So I always thought like Trevor is just the nicest name, and so paradoxically, here's this evil thing named Trevor, and we thought it was hilarious. But once we alphanumericized, is that a word?
Yeah.
Once we made that, we had to come up with the acronym. So the one that I had was Tracking Robotic 3-Vectored Reducer. Because it reduces, right, Tom? It's like it reduces you, yeah.
완폭 제작이랑
That was our internal acronym.
Yeah.
And so when we went
속삭임무기
to
제작이죠.
Guardian Con and we did like a fly-through or like a walkthrough,
Yeah.
And so we,
제작 확정?
the
경위
community
제작
team,
확정.
thought that we should let the fans of GuardianCon
Yeah.
decide what the actual acronym for Trevor was. And so we had like the 5 different examples, and my tracking robotic was in there.
Oh,
right?
yeah?
As one of the things. I was like, please pick mine, please pick mine.
Yeah.
And so at the end, what they decided on, and they decided by loud applause, and it was like very obvious that this is what they wanted.
committee had
Oh yeah,
spoken.
it's like very obvious.
Yeah.
What they decided on was tame, relaxed, triple vac roommate. So that's the official name for Trevor.
That's it. It's
The acronym.
codified.
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Thank you very much to the denizens of GCX. Thank you very much for your hard work and letting us know exactly what
Yeah.
Trevor should be called. That's really cool. I wish I'd been there for that. Okay, now we're taking a quick look at the craftable exotics as well. We're going to go ahead and start with Whisper of the Worm. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about what players who are kind of going to go ahead and facilitate their own
차보단
playstyle or
심어.
want to build a Whisper all to their own? What are they going to have to look forward to with all this?
Yeah, even before we get into the crafting, like I've got my notes here from Chris Proctor, so
You're the
I'm
man
ready to
himself.
go. Yeah, he's
멀리
sitting
본다,
on my
바꿨어.
shoulder, helping me out here. And we wanted to retain the fantasy of both these weapons, of both Whisper and of Outbreak. And you know, Whisper, it's a hard-hitting precision weapon where you're in the backfield. Like, and if you land your crits, you're rewarded, and you can sustain a ton of damage on a boss or enemies with a large critical area.
Ogres will be felled.
Ogres
연장이
will be
없네?
felled, the servitors.
연장을 일부러 뺐나
no
보다.
chance, yeah.
And then with Outbreak, it's the fantasy is all about spreading the plague of Siva nanites.
Certainly.
And we'll be able to get to that in a minute.
안정타격이
But
좀
I think
더
we're looking at
나을지도?
Whisper right now.
안동
yeah,
잡으려면?
so specifically with Whisper and Outbreak, for both of them, with both these crafted weapons, they'll both have a craftable barrel,
안정성 올리려면은
magazine,
안정
traits, and
탄약을
stock
쓰는 것도
options.
나쁘지 않을 것 같네요.
The barrel and magazine options will let you like really push the stats around. Like so, you'll be able to have like a max stability Whisper if you want.
Yeah.
Which was like really advantageous for a weapon that's about this like hitting repeated critical hits.
Certainly.
In an area, and then specifically for the perks on Whisper, and both the perks on Whisper and Outbreak are things that
집중,
might give you
광희
secrets
작용,
to
야전
go
준비?
and both of these exotic missions, you'll be able to unlock them.
야, 야전이 있네?
And for Whisper, it starts off with Mulligan, which is the classic perk where if you miss your shots, they get refunded.
야,
But if
야전
you
준비 써야지, 이러면.
upgrade it, you can get field prep, which will give you more shots, which equals more damage.
Yeah.
And then there's no distractions, which will allow you to keep
집중.
under fire,
광희
hold,
작용.
aim on your target better. And there's also enlightened action, which is for more forgiving reloads. So there's, I think a lot of
아싸리
options for
장전
players,
속도
different
올리라
playstyles,
이거네.
different skill levels there.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then just the kind of the cherry on top there with Whisper is that it's getting a reserves bump. So it's going to go from
That's right.
18 in reserve to 24 in reserve. So you're going to have a ton of ammo to just like make it a sustained damage monster.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting.
So ultra
나
precise
세 번째
players
특성
like
못 봤어.
myself who never miss a
네
shot
번째
will have
특성
even
못
more.
봤어.
Why are you guys laughing? Why are you?
Sorry.
Why is that funny? No, that's really exciting. We have Whisper the Worm in addition to Outbreak Perfected now joining the pool of craftable exotic weapons. Let's take a quick look at Outbreak as well while we're here hanging out in the enclave. Tom, kind of, second verse, same as the first, same question. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the perks and updates that players will have available to them with their options to craft Outbreak Perfected?
Yep. And so in addition to barrels and mags, it has its classic outlaw perk is back. So you get your fast reloads on final blows, which works really well with Outbreak. It's all about also landing precision hits to either spawn nanites or to kill enemies and spawn nanites and spread that Siva
얘는 다
energy
괜찮게
around.
나오네.
Spread the plague.
Spread the plague. And then the second one though that we're added here is rapid hits. which
신속
plays
발사?
right into that. So like
머리
you land
추적기?
your precision shots, you get more stability, you get faster reloads. Then another
너무
new one is
타작 대놓기 아니야.
rewind rounds. It's
that
hard for me to
3
say.
times
fast.
fast,
Try it out.
Yeah.
Which refills your reserves from to minimize your reloads.
와,
Like if you're hitting
저거
shots, you're
머리
just
추적기도
getting
있어가지고
ammo. It's really kind of interesting.
시장에서도 꽤 셀
Perpetual
것
motion machine,
같은데.
no perpetual death
So
machine.
yeah, it's like do you want the reloads or you just want to keep shooting?
Yeah.
And then there's
왜냐면은
also a head seeker, which I think maybe for PvP or for certain play styles.
시장에서
where,
꽤
you're less,
복병이 될 수도 있을 것
focusing on
같은데요.
kill shots,
왜냐면은
that's something to think
완벽한
about as well,
폭동이
right? In terms of
시장에서 꽤
catalysts,
쓰는 사람도 있어요.
If you already have them,
그 스탯
Yeah,
자체가
you can
좋아가지고.
craft those. If you don't,
There you go.
play the legend version of Whisper and 0 Hour, and you'll have a chance to get them.
Very
So
cool.
that's still in there. And then, as I mentioned, for
아니,
unlocking these new intrinsic perks that you can
개머리판
slot in,
개조가 원래
it'll be like
있었나?
a 3-week mini quest line that rolls into the
잠깐만.
secrets for each of these. And Whisper is coming at launch with Into the Light.
Exciting.
And 0 Hour is coming in May.
얘,
Perfect.
얘
Okay. So it'll be a chance to go ahead and sink your teeth into 0 Hour for a while before you go ahead and change your attention and
이상하네?
start
얘
unlocking
원래
another one of the
메모리판
storied
개조가 있었나?
exotics of old. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are more than just the
메모리판
craftable
개조 넣은 거
weapons
보면은
available
그냥
as
대놓고
rewards in
시장에서
these
한번
missions.
써보라는 것
There's some
같은데?
tried and true ships. Now, we were talking a little bit about this earlier.
그죠?
but as someone who
완폭
still to
개머리판
this day wears
없었지.
1,000 wings.
그냥 대놓고 시장에서
Yeah,
쓰라는 거
we
아니야?
know the feeling of getting that ship and finally having that I was there moment. The ships are making a return as well, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so for both Whisper and for 0 Hour, they're coming back. Is it the exact same
어허이,
ship?
그냥
or
대놓고
are they gonna
시장에서
change it
쓰라는
up?
거잖아.
Yeah, these are actually new assets.
머리
right?
추적기
They're
나왔을
new
때부터
ships, so they won't be the
그
same.
얘가
They won't
딱 그
sit in the
머릿속에
same
생각을
spot in
했어.
inventory. And they are updated to look really cool and new, and I think they're exciting. Especially we took the old scrap drifter ship that
Yeah.
was
야, 시장 복병으로
not really
줘버리네.
loved particularly by the community because it was literally scrapped together from spare parts. To
머리
get built.
추적기 머리
And so we
추적기
did a really nice
붙여가지고
pass on
빠르게
that.
머리
So it,
터트려서 그걸
It's
쓰라는 거
inspired by the
아니에요.
look
머리
of
빠르게 머리
Outright
터트려서
Perfected.
이
And I think it
뭐지
looks great. I think the
완폭의
community's gonna
전용
love it.
그
Yeah.
And then we have
시바
the Whisper ship.
그것들이
Thousand
딱
Wings.
터트려가지고
It's
애들한테
got
딜을 넣으라고.
A new design. So you'll still have your old Thousand Wings, and if you have that equipped, players are going to know that you're OG and that you got it back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And the new one is going to look like the new one, so there won't be any mistaking the old one for the new one.
Very cool. Excellent. So for the players who want to go ahead and continue to build up their collections,
Yeah.
there's a chance to go ahead and dive back in.
외국인들
Maybe they weren't there
좋아하겠는데?
originally, but they want to go ahead and join the Thousand Wings Club to a degree.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So it'll be a chance to go ahead and
외국인들은
unlock those,
좋아 죽겠다, 이제.
unlock those as well. Excellent. Well, I think we are actually about at the point of the show we're going to go ahead and get ready to rotate over to the PvP map pack. But for starters, let's go ahead and make sure we thank our incredible team of playtesters here, going ahead and showing off the missions for us. Ashley, Peyton, and Michael.
전설무기는
Thank you all
언급이
so
없네요.
much. Very much. There we go. We're getting some waves from the backstage. Thank you all so much for the time. And of course, Willie, I think this is unfortunately the time now we bid you
전설무기는 아예
to
없을
go
수도
ahead and
있겠다.
transition into the PvP
Thanks for
map.
having
See
me.
you soon.
Awesome. Willie, thank you so much. All right, we are now joined by another member of the Bungie development team, a staff artist here who has helped made many of the PvP maps that you've also known and loved, the one and only Mr. Cooley Callahan. Cooley, welcome to the show, man.
Guys, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for having me
Absolutely, it's been so long.
here. Yeah, it has. It's been a minute.
Look at us, right? Who would've thought? Yeah.
That's full circle.
Yeah. Now we were talking a little bit before the
전설무기
show
없는 건 좀
about Cooley.
전설무기가
I'm gonna go ahead
언급이
and
없는
do
건
us
좀
all a
아쉽네요.
favor and put Cooley on the spot to a degree. Rob, we were talking a
솔직히
bit
저는
about Cooley's history.
완폭이랑 그
Can you tell us a
속삭임이
little bit
나온다는
about
거는
the
대충
man sitting just to
예측을
your
하고
left, the
있었는데
contributions he's made to
전설무기
the
없는
PvP
거는
pantheon?
Yeah, well, one of the
예측선에
things
있긴
that was really
했지만
important
좀
for
아쉽긴
us
하네.
was to make sure that the strike team was stacked, that we had the best designers on the strike team. And so Cooley is certainly one of those. He's a 6-year veteran of the PvP team who shipped over 11 maps.
바로
A lot of
시대장으로
them are fan
넘어가네요.
favorites, and I'm not going to steal any more of Cooley's thunder. I'll just let him talk about some of that.
Yeah, it's not everyone's a banger. I mean, there's definitely some maps that people would want some words with me, but I
We'll
think
save that for later. But what are some
yeah,
of the
just
bangers?
come find me. It's I think
얘네들은 머리 헤어스타일에
Burning
중간이
Shrine,
없어.
Yeah.
which is now Burnout. You know, it's such a classic map. It's a Trials favorite. And then Midtown is another map that turned out really well. We built that for Countdown, but you know, I was just chatting with another Destiny fan at the dog park the other day, talking about
그러니까
how
NPC들도
well that map
중간이 없나
supports
보네.
all of the different engagement ranges.
중간이
Which
얘들은
is
다
definitely something
죽었잖아.
that we try to do. We try to create places for players to use their.
아마도
their favorite
죽었잖아.
tools.
머리 중간이었는데.
Now with the maps, we're going to be looking at 3 of them today with kind of
너무
a primary
빡빡이거나
focus on, you
아니면은
were mentioning
전부 다
earlier, I think it
장발이야.
was the 3v3 kind of competitive side of things was sort of the focus for
아니면은
these
인간이
maps.
아니야.
Absolutely, yeah. I think early on, a lot of the direction
아니면
that we
인간이
got
아니야.
was we wanted to bolster that competitive gameplay experience with new maps, tweaks to the modifiers of some of the modes, and so we, in our play testing, really focused on the competitive playlist and really centered and put those experiences at the forefront. And then, you know, all Destiny maps, you know, can suit a variety of modes, so we also made sure they worked elsewhere. But for the most part, we really did want to provide new experiences and just breathe a little bit of new life into the higher, maybe a little bit sweatier gameplay.
So weird how you were staring directly at me when you said sweaty, but that's fine. We'll let it go for now. Actually, briefly too on that topic before we kind of go into the guided tour of these maps. Having had so much time to sort of be a part of building the tapestry that so much of our PvP happens on, what were some of the key lessons that you've kind of taken away from having built those maps and seen them go through everything from trials to quick play and bringing forward those
아이코라는
lessons into
빡빡이지
these
대머리가
maps?
아니라고요? 살라딘도
I
똑같아요.
think one thing that is always at the forefront of our
살라딘도
minds is
빡빡이지
trying to
대머리가
strike
아니지.
that balance between providing the playground for players to express themselves and
그나마
express their
중간급의
guardian and their
헤어스타일을
play
가진 게
style.
방랑자
And so
아닌가?
a lot of verticality, a lot of
근데
movement.
방랑자는 송봉대가 아니잖아.
And then balancing that with making sure players understand where they're getting shot from, and creating a satisfying PvP engagement that doesn't leave players cursing the map or feeling like they don't understand why they died. So we want to make sure that players have
까마귀 풍성충이지.
we want to provide a choice for players that's always available.
차크스는 지가 얼굴을 안 까니까 대머리가 돼도 이상하지 않나?
use the map to their advantage.
대머리가 아니기 이상하지 않아?
It's a balancing like
아니,
complex
머리를
gameplay space,
그렇게
that allows a lot of movement and freedom without
차크스는 머리를 깐 적이
opening up so
없는데
much that
그러면은
you're
모발이
not
잘
understanding,
모발이
like,
유지가 될
you
리가 없잖아.
get shot from so many different places.
Certainly.
So we really it's a little bit of back and forth. We'll open it up. We'll try some things. Especially this
설마
time
그렇게
around,
하고도
we
머리가
tried some
풍성하다고?
stuff and
관리를
got
어떻게
into
한
the
거야?
weeds a little bit,
Yeah.
but I think that's all part of the discovery process of finding the gameplay that we want to create. And so
야, 그 관리
go a little
비법
further,
나한테 좀
go
알려주면 안
too
되냐?
far in the openness and Swiss cheese, and then we bring it back and make it a little bit more focused and really dial in the engagements that we want.
That's awesome. I mean, speaking of getting in the weeds, there's no time like the present. Shall we go ahead and dive on in?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Cool. Diving on in. All right, we got the first of 3 maps to go ahead and show off. This is the we have one on Europa, one on Neomuna, and then one on one of the pyramid ships in Essence, I believe is the
That's
name of the
right.
location. So this is the first one. This is here
유로파,
on
네오무나,
Europa.
피라미드.
Cooley, can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here today, or where we are?
나 지금
Yes, so
보면은
this
유로파는
map is
너무
called Evil Tide
늦었지.
Labs, and this is a
유로파는
long-forgotten
진작 나왔어
human
했어.
colony research outpost on Europa.
5 minutes left.
And
Keep it up.
it
아니,
just so happens
빛의
that
저편이
Aramis
나온
has
지
chosen
2년이
this
넘어가는데
location as
이제야
a
나왔다고?
refueling station for her catch. So here you'll see, perched just above the horizon is her catch in the
원래
skybox
빛의 저편
with
나올 때부터 같이
getting
나왔어야 하지
hooked
않았어?
up, and we have a servitor over here that's hooked up to the catch to provide that ether that the Elixir need. And so we really wanted to situate the maps in the universe and draw on that deep Destiny lore. But yeah, we definitely have a presence of Fallen here, set amongst the abandoned human, ice-encrusted structures of the past, which has been a really fun environment to work on. We definitely want to bring in as many new palettes as possible because there's so much great environment art content, and the palettes are really cool, and we want to use those in PvP wherever we can, just to
여기가 새로운
different
실현장
palettes have different
맵이에요.
character that leads to different gameplay spaces.
Also, when it comes to kind of finding these maps of place in the world, Rob, having kind of looking at through an artistic lens, what were some of the challenges or even kind of exciting opportunities potentially of finding, new places for these maps to live in the more modern era of Destiny that we've been experiencing more recently?
Well, we really wanted to make sure that when we do an update like this, it's a major refresh to the map rotator, right? Like we're adding quite a bit of variety here. We wanted to make sure that we had 3 distinctly different places and places that players haven't seen a bunch of times. So
Right.
fortunately, we had these available to us, and I'm looking at it again now. I mean, I'm not getting sick of looking at this. The team does such a good job.
It's gorgeous. This is, one of the cool things is just how purposeful everything feels. In the
약간
world.
맵이
The art team
저번
always
그
pushes it so
옛날에
far where it
있었던
really feels like
뒤엉킨
you're
해안
walking
맵을
into
약간
a truly recently defunct
사용해서
human colony
변형시킨
or
것
whatever the case may
같은데.
be.
Yeah, and the frozen world of Europa, I mean, they all have their advantages for PvP, but the frozen ice walls of Europa are just perfect for
Yeah.
multiplayer, and I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about this a bunch.
Yeah, actually, also too, Cooley, if you wouldn't mind, you know, as people who have heard me talk too much about Destiny PvP would know, Dead Man's Tale and I get along a lot. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about some of the sightlines or opportunities that I'll have to maybe rack up some additional kills as I dive into this map the first time?
Totally, totally. If long range is your thing, this spot out here is definitely the place for you. There's one spawn that happens for one team over by C and then one over by A, and so in
예,
these
이게
competitive modes,
새로운
if you've got
실화야장
objective
맵입니다.
out
이게 아마
here,
올해 나올
this
거예요.
sight line is really important to lock down. So this is the this is a spot where you're gonna have two teams poking and peeking each other, and then rushing over here to try to get to this zone and lock it down. And
Yeah.
근데
if
데스티니
you're,
PvP
rolling
맵은
with
원래
that
복잡했어요.
long range
근본이
kit, you can
복잡했어.
hang back and sort of lock down this airspace here so that you can provide cover and maybe support your team from being harassed down on this point. And then
Fantastic.
we also have sort of this the sight line in the middle, which will be pretty fun. It's definitely going to be a race to for each player or each team to kind of get to this spot. and
오히려
lock
지금
down
나온
this sort of,
콘텐츠들이
portal here
그렇게
to ensure
복잡하지
that you
않다고
can,
해야겠지.
push into this space and kind of control the middle.
이제
But,
이런
as
장소가
you can see,
오시리스의
there's,
시험이
lots of
나온다면은 이제
ways for
그때
players
사람들의
to come
머릿속이
and play.
복잡해지겠지.
So if you're holding this
아이씨,
space, you'll really
어디서
not
뛰쳐나오지?
be here for too long unless you've got
몇
the
대인데?
support to do it.
이러면서.
Make sure you throw those grenades right off of the rip, basically, when you're coming out of spawn to try and
Yep.
conquer that territory as best you can.
Yeah, one of the things I love about these ice caves is, it provides a lot of opportunity for grenades, like trip mines, and to bounce things off of the back of the walls. And the shapes here are just really fun to play with.
All right, so this is one of 3 maps. Let's go ahead and prepare to go ahead and move on to the next one here really quickly. We've got
자, 이제 다음 장소입니다.
as well. So
유로파
finding a
나왔고요.
place, on Neomuna, obviously that's makes
네,
sense for
네오문화입니다.
PvP.
컨셉 네오문화.
Probably seems pretty natural, honestly, given just like how rich and vibrant and exciting of a place it is. What was it like, even starting from an artistic standpoint on this map, Rob?
This was a really exciting map for the team. It's a shopping/entertainment center for the exos on Neomuna. And,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really fun decoration, and the spaces have a lot of character to them. There's a lot of recognizable things,
야, 이것들
human scale
지들
things that,
지들 그 무결점 그 뭐지?
relatable, and we don't always get that in,
그거
in
같다,
all of our
그건가?
palettes. And so
그거잖아.
this is also an opportunity
오시리스의
for
시험
us to
그
have
무결점
a
무기.
really
무결점
clean
방어.
architectural map that has a lot of
것들이.
crisp edges and very flat
자, 이번
floors.
컨셉은
So
네오문화입니다.
all of definitely the more competitive players and the sort of the more PvP diehards, they really take to this map, and it's an instant hit. People are, just right away pleased with, how readable the map is. It's one of those maps that you play a couple times and you get it. Like, you understand that it's all about this center atrium room that is really open and kind of has this big pit
야,
in the
맵
middle. And
좋은데?
then, there's this area down here, which is where a lot of objectives spawn, and there's
여기는
some special
네오문화입니다.
ammo down here. But then there's also this place over here where the heavy ammo spawns, and players will oftentimes just pop up here to do a quick check and maybe like try to get a cheeky kill on somebody who's maybe running from cover to cover, but you can't hang out here for very long because you've got so many different angles
야,
at which you
확실히
can get
네오문화는
shot from. But that's
좀
kind of
노력을
like
한
the
티가
balance
난다.
of what I was talking about before. Like we
솔직히
want to provide that, but we
그
want to make sure that
그 뭐지?
it's
거기
not too powerful or
유로파는 좀
it's still,
대놓고
it's a risk
뭔가
reward,
비낀 티가
right? You're making a
나는데
trade-off,
여기는
and,
뭔가 노력한 티가 난다.
the players who are using the map well and who understand the map will be able to use it to their advantage.
Yeah, actually, also too, to kind of focus on the readability. I remember overhearing some discussions with you designers talking about the clean zone in PvP. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how it kind of helped inform the design of this map?
Yeah, definitely. I think the clean zone is something that a lot of developers really use to sort of create this space for the player to pop, right? To like really stand out from the environment. And so for
그런
us,
거
it's about where
크리에이션
the
키트 이런
player's head
거
height is. And this
조금
map is
변형시켜가지고
just one of the examples of how it can really provide for a good PvP
인계형
experience.
그런 방을 만들 수 있게 해줬으면
Have
좋겠다.
this sort of mark on the wall where you
그러면은
can kind of
이제
expect players
저렇게
to
3인칭도
reside
볼
in.
수도 있고
Yeah.
약간 그
Till they jump around
진짜
and strands suspend you in the air.
중계하듯이
You're just
그렇게
left
할
there
수 있지
cursing
않을까?
the heavens for a little while.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm speaking on my own behalf. This is looking fantastic. Yeah, this is, I will say, one of the maps that, having done a little bit of playtesting myself, I still have to give you credit for perhaps one of the most diabolical heavy weapon spawns, or heavy ammo spawns, rather, I should see, in any PvP map. Like the sheer amount of risk reward that goes into just making your way safely, or so you think, out to that particular territory.
Right.
You know, as you guys were even building that balance in of these consumables on the map, Cooley, what was it like, sort of having that process evolve or grow?
Yeah. You know, typically when we start laying out a map, we just kind of start with control because it's a good base point. It requires 3
이미
you know,
경기할 때
very
오점에서
well-defined
중계하시게요? 아니
combat
그렇게
pockets
하려면
that
그렇게
have an objective
하기에는
in
인게임
them.
사람이 너무 없어요.
But then from there we start mapping out the other objectives that might exist on
와
the
저거
map, like
초록색
the
보여요?
heavy
저거
ammo
특탄
point.
상자 아니야?
I think we've kind of gravitated more toward having special ammo live next to some of the other objectives on the map, so you're not constantly having to make a choice of where should I go.
아 전맵에도
but
있었어? 그건 내가 못
we
봤구나.
kind of map those things out, and it's sort of a formula. There's definitely a sort of a order of operations, so to speak. Of you start with these big strokes.
근데 뭐
you
원래
go to the
특탄
next
상자 그거
stage
한다고
and start
뭐
making sure that
지들이
you've
뭐
got
하도 하던데.
space and combat pockets for maybe
그래도 막상
Dominion
특탄
or
상자 보니까 약간 킹받네.
some other game modes, and things just kind of fall into place from there.
Excellent. All right, and we've also got,
그리고
one
특탄
more map
상자
to
위에
check out as
있는
well.
저
For
홀로그램
all the fine
고양이는
folks at home,
뭐냐?
we're going to continue our guided tour, and we're going to make our way over to Essence, to one of the pyramid ships, to check out the
자,
final PvP
다음은
map that we'll be
피라미드
releasing in this
함선입니다.
pack. As we're flying in, I gotta give you guys credit. Like the space that exists inside those pyramid ships that's being terraformed by the Traveler looks just absolutely incredible. But this is the first time you guys have had a chance to really flex your muscles and build a PvP map out here. Rob, just to start from your perspective as we load in, what was it like developing this, playground for Guardians that's kind of so deep in the enemy's backyard?
I think it was really tough.
Yeah.
I remember there were quite a few iterations of this map, and I know Cooley's going to go into more detail, but like from a high level, it's a pretty inherently noisy palette. Cooley was talking about the clean zone. There's some palettes in the game that are just very visually noisy. So the geometry is noisy. They create a lot of shadow and a lot of highlights just by the geometry itself. And then the textures, the shaders that are on the geometry, those can be noisy.
Yeah.
And then there's the clutter of the palette. So when you have an environment
악몽의
with a lot of
뿌리네,
entropy, and
컨셉이.
there's just rubble everywhere. There's like garbage strewn around or plants hanging down, like we often do in Destiny. We have to declutter. Some of like the European dead zone maps, for example,
Yeah.
are highly cluttered. And so this was an example of one of those fairly entropic, high clutter palettes that the team had to kind of wrangle into shape.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about that process because it was quite
야
a
이건 좀
process.
노력한 티가 나온다.
Actually, Cooley, I'd love
악몽의
to
뿌리
continue
컨셉이네요.
and just start there. Taking this space on a pyramid ship and kind of making it suitable
원래
for
악몽의
PvP.
뿌리 맵 자체는 이뻤어.
What was that process like from your perspective, kind of from more of a design side?
Yeah,
근데
it's
이
again,
악몽의 뿌리
a
맵을
process of
좀
back and forth.
자유롭게 돌아다닐 수
we
있는
start with
장소가 많이
maps out,
없었지.
and
왜냐면은
maps out
레이드
is
장소였기
the
때문에
simplest and
딱히 뭐
cleanest
오픈 월드
map
같은
will ever
거라던가
be.
그런 게
And,
구현된 게 아니었으니까.
From there we start developing the spatial character of the map, and one of the things we like to ask ourselves is, what is this place? And even with a
그런데
more
이런 거를
abstract
굳이 1년이
palette
지나서
like,
만든다는 것
Essence
자체가
ship,
좀 웃기긴 하다.
it's worth asking that question because we can leverage
이런 거는
spatial archetypes that
학
just
작성에
kind of
나왔을 때
like
같이 나왔어야 하는
naturally
거
resonate
아니었어?
with people. So, like here we have in this map we have sort of these dueling huts or these dueling ziggurats, and inside of them is this artifact or shrine. So maybe this is maybe this part of the ship is a collection of mysterious artifacts that the witness has collected. And so we lean on those things to give a little bit of rhyme and reason to a space that otherwise is completely abstract. And that is also really useful for us in terms of we can make any kind of space we want. Like we're not limited by architectural constraints, but it can be tough sometimes to orient players in the map when you don't have things like doors or like TVs or any sort of
침봉사랑
human scale
악구랑
architectural
섞인 느낌인 것
pieces
같다고요?
that kind of
당연하죠.
clue in So
신풍
Yeah.
그 뭐지?
It's
악보가
also
그
too.
뭐지?
I remember we were
똑같은
talking a little bit before the
피라미드인데
show, Rob, even about what it was
똑같은
like from a design standpoint,
피라미드인데
and
피라미드가
bringing
없으면
in
안
external
되지.
testers to try these maps out for the first time. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and kind of, as you I think phrased it, discovering your own blind spots?
Yeah, well, we've done this before for years,
심지어
really.
악몽의
And
뿌리는
we did it again here, and it
그
was,
악몽의 뿌리
I think,
컨셉이
really successful
뭐냐면은
because it was 2
그
days.
피라미드
They ran through these
함선인데
maps when they were still in development. They
여행자가
weren't too far enough along where we
여행자가
couldn't make
목격자를
some
공격하는
pivots
그
that we needed
와중에
to.
Yeah.
그
And they found
피라미드
a lot of
함선에
stuff.
맞으면서
I mean, for this
그
map, for
영향을
example,
주게 된
we thought it
거예요.
was in a pretty good place.
근데 그 함선에
And a lot of
있던
things
내 자리에
were called out.
깨어난
They didn't pull
거고.
any punches. They were honest and clear and constructive with the feedback, and it
Yeah.
wasn't super easy to hear it all. But
Sure.
when the team listened to it, and we took tons of notes, and it was also about they gave feedback on our sandbox as well.
Yeah.
But lots and lots of map feedback. It was incredibly useful, and just another lesson in what we don't see.
Yeah.
And it's so valuable to do that. And these, I can't
아,
say who they
중탄성
were, but they're
어렵겠다.
very well-known
Yeah.
community
Maybe some
players.
folks in chat, who knows? But
Yeah. Yeah, but
You know who you are.
we really were careful about who we brought in because we wanted people that would be very
드랍이
pragmatic.
아니고 지구로
They weren't
바뀌는
interested in their
언제부터냐고요?
own
얼마 안
YouTube
됐어요.
monetization
한
strategy or how
한달 됐나?
they
한
particularly
달에서
make
두 달 됐나?
content. They wanted the game to be in a great place. They wanted PvP
그럼
to
안
be
돼요.
in a great place for the community and for Destiny.
Absolutely.
Right? And they were carefully selected that way, and great communicators who could articulate the feedback. They could really speak to what they were experiencing and what we could do to fix what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
And I'd like Cooley can probably say what he thinks about it too, but
Yeah.
I was just blown away by
Yeah.
how valuable that was, and we definitely want to keep doing that.
Certainly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cooley, can you tell us a little bit more about that experience on your side as well?
Totally. I mean, it's so fun to.
베타맵
those are some of my
재탕이라고도 할
favorite
수 있는데
moments when we
디자인
can get
그
a bunch
뭐지?
of,
그 구성은
super
재탕일
fans
수도
from the
있긴 한데
community in and show them
여기는
work in
소스를
progress
다시
stuff
만들어야
and they
했어야
can
되기
actually
때문에 시간이 좀
give
걸렸을
us
거예요.
real
소스를 다시 만들어야 돼.
feedback that we take back to our desks and
왜냐면은
talk
악몽의
about
뿌리
it,
맵
and
같은
we
경우에는
discuss how
소스를
can
활용할
we,
장소가 많이 없어가지고
sort of take their
소스를
feedback
처음부터
and
다시
move
만들었어야 할
forward.
거예요.
And this content is for them in a big way, right? Like we need their approval. Like we absolutely, that's our mark. That's our goal is to create content that they're going to love playing and that they're excited to play and that their communities are going to get excited to play and sort of learn together and build strategies for. That's the funnest part of the job.
Yeah. I mean, also, Cooley,
일단
on your
너무
side
대놓고
in
바닥에
general,
있는데.
what are you most excited
그래야죠.
for
그래야
players to
사람들이
experience
저거
once this
먹겠다고
gets out
싸우지.
into the world, into the light?
대놓고 그 뭐지?
Yeah,
아주
I'm
위에
excited to see these
있으면은
maps rotate into
저거
trials. I'm excited for
먹으러 언제가
players to
이러고
have a
있겠지.
totally new trials experience that is going to be a sort of an experience of discovery of these new spaces and new strategies and for players to also the meta isn't really formed yet. I mean, like we sort of know how the map plays, but it's always a fun
중탄
surprise
줄려다가
to
맞아줄
see
것 같아서요?
in the wild.
그게 컨셉이죠.
Just how the map ends
그게
up.
맞지. 중탄 주려고 하다가 맞아 죽어야지. 원래 그런 거야. 그만큼 중탄 경쟁이 치열하게 함으로
Just
인해서
watching what happens.
그만큼 그
I mean, I
싸움을
count
유도하는
myself
것이고.
among the many that are excited to go ahead and dive
그리고
on it, having
중탄
more
자체가
playgrounds to go ahead and
워낙
dive on it on
그
trials, no matter what the case is.
파워가
Maybe trying to
세잖아요.
go ahead and actually get some more competitive rank. Cooley, thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through these today. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, my
그
pleasure.
뭐지?
Excellent. And all right, well, we'll go
유탄
ahead
한
and
대
use that as a
맞으면
moment to
뒤지는데.
conclude the quick tour of as well of the PvP maps. We got a quick question from chat from Jakasor asking about are we going to get a playlister mode? It'll be just these new maps during Into the Light, and the answer is yes. When they launch on May 7th, we'll have a 3v3 playlist to go ahead and talk just about these items. Or rather,
뭐야,
let you play just those maps.
저거도
Rather, we're talking about them
스피드
today.
나와?
They're all going to be playing them very shortly. All right, well, that so far wraps up the first two segments of our show. But we've got, as I mentioned at the top, a few more announcements for you as well. So you may have heard us mention the word Pantheon in the TWID last week, or even on the show here last
그래,
week. potentially as well.
판테온이지.
We
새로운
have got
컨텐츠,
a
새로운
brand
그
new,
만신전이라는 게
raid-oriented, a raid boss
판테온이었지,
gauntlet,
맞아.
rather, starting on April 30th. Now, there will be more information about this in an upcoming TWID. You'll have more details to dig into shortly, but you will have the Pantheon coming up, where you'll have an opportunity to face grueling raid bosses in a weekly challenge with escalating difficulties and rewards. Now, this is a chance for you to go ahead and rally your clan or the perfect fire team with Fireteam Finder, if you're able to track them down, to go ahead and track down those exotics, adept weapons, any emblems you may not have gotten your hands on, but We have more details for that in the coming weeks. Keep an eye on the TWID, Cosmo, and the community team. Thank you for your hard work putting that together. 2, when you dive on in on April 9th, actually rather before we get there, I'm sorry, we will have the opportunity to also, you'll have the opportunity to get a title through your course of Into the Light as well. So if you dive on in, go ahead and unlock all the triumphs associated with the seal. You'll be able to
빗속으로
march into the final shape
컨텐츠에서도
with a brand new
그
title
뭐지? 칭호가
blade
있다 하네요.
as well. So make sure go ahead and get
안신전은
those
지금이
big
아니라
challenges bit off so that we
그
can
번지넷
handle them,
소식을
as early as you
통해서도
possibly
정보를
can
푼다 합니다.
and let the witness know that you're on the way.
이것들이 시킬 거면 왜 그걸
And
정보로
we have
했어?
3 really cool things hitting on April 9th when Into the Light launches. The first one is if you're a new player, you got a buddy who's just jumping into the game for the first time, and you'd rather not hang out with Shahan and the Cosmodrome, then you have an opportunity to go ahead and just join the front lines. You can skip the New Light campaign, give Shahan maybe a high five on the way out, ask him for a weekly bounty when you're back later, but you have a chance to go ahead and meet up with your
빗속으로
friends, head to the Hall of Champions, grab the gift of the Thunderlords if you so choose, and get
새로운
ready for
컨텐츠
battle
스킵
alongside
가능.
them. So you'll be able to go ahead and grab some of these New Light kits as well, depending on what your subclass of choice is out of the gate. But your barriers to dive in with
대신에
your friends have
스킵했을
never been
때
lower.
어떠한
There'll be a
능력을
chance to go
먼저
ahead and dive on
채택을
into
할지.
everything you're seeing with Into the Light here.
그래, 저 스킵키는
Also,
했었어.
we have a couple more things. We have some questions in chat about this as well from It's Zepsky and Atlas Live TV. But on 4.9, you'll have the opportunity to also change the way your character looks. So you'll be able to go ahead and change your hair if you didn't like your haircut, if you want to go ahead and change your face paint, if you want to go ahead and risk it to be one of those guardians who goes helmetless in the tower. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough, but I know many of you are. Your chance will be arriving very soon with Into the Light. And there will also be an opportunity
저 커마더
to
빗속으로
change your
해요.
name.
했을 때
So
나온다네.
Guardian 4681 out there. With the launch of Into the Light, we're also going to give you one more name change token. If you already have yours sitting around, I believe you have 2, but our friends
만약에
at DPS
여러분들
will be
닉네임
able to
바꾸고
answer that
싶으신
question for you,
분들은
but you'll have that
이번에
chance as well
그
once
이름
Into the
바꾸기
Light
토큰을
launches.
준답니다.
Now, there's a lot, but we also have one more thing for all of you. Next week, we're going to be joining you again for a special developer preview of some gameplay for Destiny 2: The Final Shape. It'll be here wherever you're watching
다음
live.
주에
You'll be able to go ahead
최후의
and watch it on
형체
April 9th
쇼케이스가
at
나오네요.
9:30 a.m. Pacific. Where you'll get a chance to basically, again, get a look behind the scenes.
최후의
The
형체
developers have
게임플레이.
been hard at work for some cool stuff that you are definitely not going to want to miss. And over the course of that show, Twitch drops will be live. So there'll be another emblem, which you can see here live on the screen, that'll be available after about 15 minutes of view time. If you haven't
이거는
gone ahead
이제
and also
최후의
unlocked the
형체
emblems that you got as a
쇼케이스
result
그
of this
뭐지
show or that
게임플레이
we're having
영상을
available during the Into the Light streams,
그
then you have a
생방송을
chance to go ahead
50분
and spend some more
보면은
time unlocking
줍니다.
those as well. But that does it. For starters, to all of you Guardians out there in chat, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We're thrilled about what we've been able to show off and thrilled about what the team's been working on for Into the Light. So thank you for taking the time to join us. Chat, we see you out there having a good time, so thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. Also, it goes without saying, but we'll go ahead and do so anyway, to the incredible team here at Bungie, building Into the Light, making all of this, the teams that you guys have been kind enough to represent. Thank you all so much for all of your hard work. We're nothing without the entire teams that we have here. Teams are obviously greater than heroes, and we're firm believers in that. And you're all great examples of that whole scenario. To our play
유추에
testers
맞네?
as well that have helped us bring this show to life,
최후의
Ashley,
형체
Peyton, and Michael here behind the
쇼케이스를
scenes. Thank you so much
속으로
for showing off some of the
컨텐츠
cool
이거
content.
나오면서
And of course,
같이
all of our
한다라고
guests, to
했었는데
Tom,
그
to
유추
Rob,
맞았네?
to Cooley, to Willie, to Noah, to Kelsey. I'm not forgetting anyone, am I?
Chris.
To Chris, thank you. To the one and only Mr. Chris Proctor as well. Thank you all for joining us. And now that is about it. So we're going to keep the stream here live until about 11:30, I believe, so you can go ahead and get a little bit more time racking up the last bits of those emblems. But in the meantime, that's it for all of us here at Bungie. Oh, also, I'm sorry, to the team of producers here, everyone here that makes this show possible, they have the challenge of making me look good on camera, so obviously their work is cut out for them. Thank you all so much for helping bring this show to life. And now, finally, we're going to go ahead and sign off, and reminder, Into the Light launches next week. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
잠깐만요. 만신전 좀 다시 들어봐야겠어. 이게 만신전 뭐라 한 거야?
For you as well. So you may have heard us mention the word Pantheon in the TWID last week, or even on the show here last week potentially as well. We have got a brand new raid boss gauntlet rather, starting on April 30th. Now there will be more information about this in an upcoming
아, 레이드 보스 그걸 순차적으로 깨부순 컨텐츠가 뭐구나.
Squid. You'll have more details to dig into shortly, but you will have the Pantheon coming up where you'll have an opportunity to face grueling raid bosses in a weekly challenge with escalating difficulties and rewards. Now, this is a chance for you to go ahead and rally your clan or the perfect fire team with Fireteam Finder, if you're able to track them down, to go ahead and track down those exotics, adept weapons, any emblems you may not have gotten your hands on, but
그러니까 여러분들 그 원래 그 레이드 경위를 얻기 위해서는 레이드 마지막 보스까지 일일이 네임들을 깨서 마지막까지 봐야 되잖아요. 근데 만신전이란 컨텐츠를 좀 제가 이해한 대로 설명을 해보면은, 자, 첫 번째 만신전 이게 판테온이거든요. 판테온. 그리고 이게, 자, 원래 레이드 경이나 장비를 얻기 위해서는 레이드 기믹이라던가 뭐 활동을 완료해서 상자를 열어서 획득인데 그 만신전은 마지막 보스만 나와. 마지막 보스만 나와. 그래서 그놈을 잡아. 그러면 이제 레이드 경이라던가 그 레이드 장비를 획득할 수 있어.
we have more details for that challenge. There'll be more information about this in a raid boss gauntlet, rather, starting on April 30th. Now, there
April 30면은 4월 30일? 4월 30일?
will be more information about this in an upcoming TWID. You'll have more details to dig into shortly, but you will have the Pantheon coming up where you'll have an opportunity to face grueling raid bosses in a weekly challenge with escalating difficulties and reward.
주간마다 변경되고 최고급 장비를 주고 최고급 장비 효과 있을 거고,
Now, this is a chance for you to go ahead and rally your clan or the perfect fighting difficulties and rewards.
난이도 설정 가능. 그리고 활약템 찾기 지원.
Now, this is a chance for you to go ahead and rally your clan or the perfect fire team with Fireteam Finder, if you're able to track them down, to go ahead and track down those exotics, adept weapons, any emblems you may not have gotten your hands
그러니까 이게 난이도 설정이 가능하니까 숙련자 무기 파밍 가능이죠.
on, but we have more details for your weekly challenge with escalating difficulty on coming up, where you'll have an opportunity to face grueling raid bosses in a weekly challenge with escalating difficulties and rewards. Now, this is a chance for you to go ahead and rally your clan or the perfect fire team with Fireteam Finder, if you're able to track them down.
에스컬레이팅이라고 했으니까 이게 난이도 설정이라고 해야 되나, 난이도가 점점 올라간다라는 뜻인가 싶어요.
To go ahead and track down those exotics, adept weapons, any emblems you may not have gotten your hands on, but we have more details for that in the coming weeks. Keep an eye on the TWID, Cosmo, and the community team. Thank you for your hard work putting that together.
뭐야, 코스모 아직 살아있구나.
Two, when you dive on April 9th, actually, rather, before we get there, I'm sorry, you'll have the opportunity to get a title through your course of Into the Light as well. So if you dive on in, go ahead and unlock all the triumphs associated with the seal.
뭐야, 트위치 방송 꺼졌어요? 트위치 방송 아직 켜져 있잖아. 아직 생방송이잖아요. 이거 문양 시간 채우라고 이렇게 해요. 여기 그 트위치 드롭스 보면은 야, 드롭스 이 보상 같은 거 보면은 여기 있어요. 이거 시간 채우라고. 아직 시간 채워야 되거든요. 안 하는 시간 채워야 돼.
We'll be able to march into the final shape with a brand new title, Brave, as well. So make sure, go ahead and get those big challenges bit off.
그리고 이거 만신전은 번역본이 나와야 될 것 같아요. 그 뭐지? 지금은 다 설명을 못한 거니까 그 번지넷 소식을 확인해 보세요. 이렇게 언급을 했어요. 그리고 뒷속으로 컨텐츠 전용 칭호가 있습니다. 칭호가 있음. 그 뭐지? 칭호가 영어로 브레이브. 칭호 영어로 브레이브. 용기. 이게 연속으로 잡아야 되는 건지 아니면은 그 한 주에 하나만 잡는 건지도 정확하게 언급이 제대로 안 된 것 같아가지고, 아니면 제가 제대로 이해를 못했거나. 그래서 이것과 관련해서도 따로 확인을 해봐야 될 것 같아요. 만약에 그 레이드 보스를 계속 내보내는 방식이면은 좀 약간 복잡해요. 맵이 계속 바뀌어야 돼. 그래서 매 주에 한 레이드 보스만 진행할 듯. 그러기에는 만약에 계속 내보내서 싸우는 방식이면 그 게임 버그가 터져요. 버그가 막 이럴 거예요. 제가 볼 때는. 그래서 그런 방식은 안 될 것 같습니다. 제가 볼 때. 맵이 지원이 안 될 거야. 만약에 그게 지원이 되려고 한다면은 번지가 그만큼 노력을 했구나 라고 생각을 할 수 있겠지. 그 무한의 숲이라던가 차원문 이동을 내가 말한 거는 컨셉이 아니라 그 맵을 즉각적으로 바꿀 수 있는 메커니즘을 이 안전한가? 코딩적으로? 여기서 드는 의문이란 거예요. 왜냐면은 그 레이드 보스 공략은 좀 복잡하잖아요. 그냥 그 뭐지? 상혼전 보스라던가 아니면은 선봉대 보스면 아니 욕 좀 쓸게요. 씨바 그걸 누가 신경 써? 아니 그딴 거 씨바 누가 신경 써? 근데 레이드는 맵과 거진 혼연일체예요. 그런데 그걸 막 쉽게 바꿀 수 있어? 여기서 드는 번지의 코딩 실력에 의문이 갖는 거죠. 나는 컨셉 문제를 가지고 있는 게 아니라 그냥 얘네들의 실력을 못 믿겠다는 거야. 그래서 매주에 한 레이드만 진행할 것 같아요. 한 레이드 보스만, 한 가지의 레이드 보스만 진행하는. 근데 여기서 조건이 있겠죠. 여기서 조건을 추가한다면 무조건 그 레이드 엔딩은 보고 오세요. 이 정도 제약이면은 인정이지. 그러니까 무조건 그 레이드를 처음부터 끝까지 엔딩. 그 레이드 처음부터 엔딩 보고 오셈. 이 정도의 재앙이면은 뭐 그럴 수 있지. 그러면은 이제 또 그 뭐지? 이제 레이드 이제 그냥 막냄 뺑이 이거 만신전만 돌면 끝 아니? 이걸 막을 수는 있겠죠. 그리고 몇몇 레이드는 막냄에서 장비가 안 나올걸요? 막냄에서 일부 장비가 안 나오지 않나? 그렇다 방어구가 예시 아닌가? 그래서 이거는 계속 이거는 확실하게 정보가 나와야 저희가 이해가 될 것 같아요. 확실히 그 새로운 레이드 확실히 그 뭐지? 전지 내 소식에서 정확하게 정보가 나올 거니까 그걸 봐야 돼요. 그리고 저희가 어쨌든 이번 걸 정리해 보면 일단 속삭임 4시 시간 복귀. 그다음에 벌레의 속삭임 그 뭐지? 완폭 제작하든 벌레의 속삭임은 뭐가 이점이 있더라? 반동 억제 가능. 벌레 제가 잘못 적었나요? 쏘리. 여기잖아. 이게 반동 억제고 멀리건의 특성을 바꿀 수 있던 것 같은데. 없구나. 총매제가. 그러면은 억제가 쉬워짐. 그리고 성각제가 없는 건 예삭 바뀌었다고요? 근데 선각자가 없는 거는 이 게임을 오래 한 사람들은 예상할 수밖에 없어요. 그냥 번지가 대놓고 클래식이라고 적어놨기 때문에. 선각자는 클래식으로 들어가기에는 저 벌레의 속삭임과 게시 시간의 출시 기간이 너무 오래됐기 때문에 선각자가 안 나올 수밖에 없어요. 선각자가 나오기에는 살짝 MG해. 솔직히 MG라기보다는 그냥 MG라고 하기엔 좀 그렇긴 해. 근데 왜냐면은 걔도 이제 따지고 보다 2, 3년 돼가니까 제 저편 출신이라서 걔도 좀 나이가 좀 먹긴 했지. 근데 벌레의 속삭임이랑 게시 시간보다는 확실히 젊다 보니까 어쩔 수 없긴 해요. 그 다음에 어쨌든 넘어가면은 광희 작용 얘는 그냥 아싸리 장전 속도 뻥튀기 해볼래? 이게 스택 비례해서 장전 속도가 증가하니까. 근데 다들 알죠? 다들 야전 쓰겠지. 야전 쓰지. 뭔 멀리건이요. 사냥이 많아야 사냥이 많아야지. 정밀 도구로 가면은 데미지 밸런스가 답이 없어서 일부러 안 줬을 거예요. 제가 예측하기로는 광희 자격을 일부러 정밀 도구 안 줬을 겁니다. 아니 그리고 그렇게 따질 거면은 차라리 정밀한 환불을 주지. 그럴 거면 정밀한 환불을 주죠. 기본 경이 능력 시너지 뻥튀기 갈 거면은 제가 볼 땐 일부러 이렇게 줬어요. 일부러 이렇게 줬어요, 얘들. 와, 이거 진짜 다시 봐도 갑갑하다. 완폭, 완폭. 야, 이거 시장에서 쓰지 않을래? 대머리판 주면. 아, 야, 진짜냐? 아, 야, 진짜야? 경량 프레임 버프 줄 때 완폭 좋아했거든. 완폭이 좋아했거든. 완폭이 좋아했거든. 그 다음에 배럴 다 준 거 같은데? 풀보도 주고 다 줬는데, 그냥? 배럴 다 줌. 한창 다 줌. 한창도 다 줬는데, 그냥? 이거 무법자, 신속발사, 탄약 되감기, 머리 추적기? 이거 머리 추적기 이거 일부러 준 거임. 이거 일부러 줬어. 뭐지? 그 머리 맞춰서 처치해야 그 특성이 발동되니까 이거 일부러 준 거임. 와, 시장 선 좀 넘는데? 시장 재장전 별 신경 안 썼잖아. 그리고 원래 재장전 속도 빨랐어. 물론 이제 여기 나머지 특성, 여기 두 개 특성이 기본 특성이긴 해요. 기본 촉매제랑 기본 특성이라서 딱히 뭐 여기 두 개는 그렇다 치면은 특성이 4개인 거예요. 그냥 특성이 4개야. 하나는 촉매제니까 그렇다 치고. 따지고 보면 특성 3개였던 것이 특성 4개가 됐다는 거겠죠. 그렇게 따지고 보면은 그냥 뭐 그럴 수 있다. 그렇게 생각할 수 있지. 뭐 저 정도 스펙이면 그럴 수 있지. 근데 원래 완폭 자체가 시장에서 꽤 쓸만했다는 게 문제인 거야. 근데 이제 그러니까 이제 여기에다가 무기 제작 격상도 되니까 그 뭐지? 스텝 보너스도 살짝 받을 거란 말이죠. 줄려나? 안 줄려나? 그건 헷갈리는데 그 다음에는 이제 시장 맵, 유로파 시장 맵과 네오문화 실내장 맵 그리고 이제 악몽의 뿌리 컨셉의 피라미드 맵 이렇게 나온 거죠. 시장 맵 3개. 시장 뭐지? 유로파 네오문화 예자가 이대자가 맞나? 그 다음에 악몽의 뿌리 피라미드. 뭐 저는 실현회장 토박이가 아니라서 딱히 이것과 관련된 언급은 못해요. 맵 밸런스니 뭐지? 밸런스니 베리인가? 밸런스 마크 그 뭐지? 어떠한 장소에서 어떠한 경위가 좋을 것 같으니 이거는 말 못해요. 만약에 제가 시장을 잘했으면 유튜브 영상 컨셉을 그런 식으로 안 잡았지. 시장 컨셉으로 쭉 밀었지. 그래서 이거는 제가 말 못해요. 그래서 딱히 할 말이 없음. 미안해. 내가 할 말이 없어. 내가 이걸 몰라. 이걸 몰라. 아, 이거 맵 밸런스를 몰라, 내가. 어? 여기서 어떠한 경위를 쓰면 되고 어떠한 능력이 쓰면 좋을지 잘 몰라. 근데 이 확실히 어린 아함카라 맛있지 않을까요? 이런 장소들은 좀 어린 아함카라 깔아놓으면 애들 좋아 죽거든. 수류탄 같은 거 깔아놓으면은 좀 좋아 죽는 지역이 몇 개 있어요. 그리고 이런데 날아서 이제 옥토끼 쏴 제끼고 있겠지. 그리고 여기 내부 같은 경우에는 산탄총 같은 거 쏠 수도 있을 거고. 이제 여기는 특탄 경쟁도 있을 수도 있다 보니까 이제 이 특탄 경쟁도 꽤 치열할 것 같아요. 네오문화맵은 그냥 대놓고 이런 발판을 많이 만들어놨기 때문에 이런 발판 같은 거를 이용해서 교전을 하는 게 많이 일어날 거예요. 정찰, 파동 이런 거 올라가 있을 거고, 이제 여기 막혀있는 시야를 이용해서 점프해가지고 핸드캔으로 쏴 잡을 수도 있을 것이고, 그리고 이제 여기가 낙사로 체크될 것 같은데, 여기 아랫부분이 낙사로 체크될 것 같은데, 이거 낙사 제가 잘할 것 같고요. 내가 잘할 것 같고요. 여기 고양이 귀엽고요. 여기 고양이 귀엽고요. 그리고 여기 이동할 수 있는 위치도 있어가지고 여기 오시리스 맵 걸리면은 좀 많이 빡셀 것 같은데? 시야 싸움이 제대로 안 되니까 여기는 산탄총이나 금고 파쇄기가 상당히 쓸만해 보일 것 같아요. 특히 여기 중앙 같은 경우에는 아예 대놓고 딱 나 대놓고 중앙이요 이렇게 대놓고 있다 보니까 이런 곳에서 그냥 수호물 같은 거 써 제끼고 있으면은 그냥 아무것도 못한단 말이에요. 여기 그냥 점령당해야 돼. 어디로 따로 들어갈 수 있는 변수가 다 보이기 때문에 그냥 너무 뻔하게 보일 수밖에 없어. 다 시야가 터여 있어가지고. 그래서 이런 장소는 그 대응이 되니까 아예 대놓고 금거 파쇄기를 써서 같이 동기어진을 하는 방식으로 플레이를 해야 되지 않을까 싶긴 해요. 근데 이것도 봐야 돼. 내가 이 맵을 그냥 천천히만 보여준 거라서 좀 더 맵이 새롭게 나오면은 들어가면서 좀 봐야 될 것 같아요.
An opportunity to go ahead and just join the front lines. You can skip.
그리고 이제 선택지네요. 이게 선택지나. 이게 새로운 빛 컨텐츠를 할 때 이게 새로운 선택지네요. 그 뭐지? 발사 기지를 탐험할 것이냐? 아니면은 대놓고 그냥 전장으로 뛰어들 것이냐? Continuing a Guardian Rise. 그러니까 떠오르는 수호자 퀘스트를 할 수 있는 거고, 여기는 이제
Yep, the new light campaign. Give Shahan maybe a high five on the way
그거를
out.
아예
Ask him for a
스킵하는
weekly
거.
bounty when you're back later. But you have a chance to go ahead and meet up with your friends, head to the Hall of Champions, grab the gift of the Thunder Lords if you so choose.
네, 그냥 튜토리얼 할래 아니면 전선 투입할래 이거인 거예요.
And get right ready for battle alongside.
그리고 만약에 네가 전선에 투입한다는 걸 골랐어. 그러면 이제 너는 그 뭐지? 어떠한 능력을 먼저 선택할래인 것 같아요. 아니 이게
bounty when you're back later, but you have a chance to go ahead and meet up with your friends, head to the Hall of Champions, grab the gift of the Thunder Lords if you so choose, and get ready for battle alongside them. So you'll be able to go ahead and grab some of these new light kits as well, depending on what your subclass of choice is out of the gate. But your barriers to dive in with your friends have never been lower. There'll be a chance to go ahead and dive on into everything you're seeing with Into the Light here. Have never been lower.
네,
There'll be a chance to go ahead.
레코멘드가 이게 뉴비 추천이란 거죠. 제작진이 뉴비한테 추천한. 그래서 만약에 이제 스킵을 하면은 이제 이 세 개 중에서 하나를 선택할 수 있다. 그런 것 같아요. 근데 저 같은 경우에는 뉴비들한테는 태양이 좀 더 낫지. 그냥 비싼 깔면 되니까. 근데 문제는 이게 처음 시작할 때는 빛의 샘을 주지 않을 거예요. 빛의 샘을 사야 할 거야. 내가 알기로는. 빛의 샘을 사야 돼가지고 바로 뉴비한테 추천하기엔 좀 어렵긴 하죠. 태양이.
And dive on into everything you're seeing with Into the Light here. Also, we have a couple more things. We have some questions in chat about this as well from Itzepski and Atlas Live TV. But on 4.9, you'll have the opportunity to also change the way your character looks. So you'll be able to go ahead and change your hair.
그리고 외모 커스터마이징이 4월 9일에 추가됩니다. 커스터마이징 기능 4월 9일 추가. 이건 좀 크지. 이건 좀 크지. 이거 무료예요? 이거 무료임. 아, 그네 한국은 4월 10일이지.
If you didn't like your haircut, if you want to go ahead and find Brave, say one out there. With the launch of Into the Light, we're also going to give you one more name change token. If you already have yours sitting around, I believe.
그리고 닉네임 변경 토큰. 이게 데스티니 닉네임 시스템은 기본은 플랫폼 닉네임. 그리고 이제 나중에 이게 나중은 아니고 번지넷과 연동되면은 번지넷 닉네임을 기본으로 들고 가요. 이게 닉변 유료화하기 어려운 게 홈페이지를 가야 돼요. 홈페이지 독점이라 이게 어디서 결제할 건데? 번지 스토어? 이게 실버로 구입이 안 된다는 거예요. 실버로 구입하기 어려운 구조. 그래서 이게 만약에 유료화 한다 해도 시간이 좀 오래 걸리지 않을까? 싶어요. 아니면 이미 있는데 내가 뭘 가나? 그래서 어쨌든 닉변 토큰 1개 지급하고
I believe you have two, but our friends in DPS will be able to answer that question for you. But you'll have that chance as well once Into the Light launches. Now, there's a lot, but we also have one more thing for all of you. Next week, we're going to be joining you again for a special developer. Just go ahead and we got a light and the answer to that from Jay. The quick tour of as well of all right, well, we'll go ahead and use that as a moment to conclude the quick tour of as well of the PvP maps. We got a quick question from chat from Jacosor asking about are we going to get a playlist or mode? It'll be just these new maps during Into the Light, and the answer is yes. When they launch on May 7th, we'll have a 3v3 playlist to go ahead and talk just about these items. Yes, when they launch on May 7th, we'll have a 3v3 playlist to go ahead and talk just about these items.
메이 7? 메이면 5월 아니에요? 5월 7일? 그러면 한국에도 5월 8일? 5월 8일에 새로운 실현회장 맵이 추가됨. 이건 것 같아요. 5월 8일 생각보다 빠르네. 마우더 성별 바꾸기 무료라고요? 무료 아닌 게임도 있잖아요. 그런 커스터마이징 무료가 아닌 게임도 있어가지고.
Or rather, let you play just those maps. Rather, we're talking about them today. They're all going to be playing them very shortly. All right, well, that so far wraps up the first two segments of our show. But we've got, as I mentioned at the top, a few more announcements for you as well. So you may have heard us mention stuff that you are definitely not going to want to miss. And over the course of that show, Twitch drops will be live. So there'll be another emphasis of view time. You can see here live on the screen that'll be available.
그죠? 빗속을 업데이트 때문에 서버 먼저 닫겠죠.
Question for you, but you'll have that chance as well once Into the Light launches.
적어도 빠르면은 12시 때쯤 문을 기본이면은 12시 때 문을 닫을 거고 빠르면은 11시에서 10시까지 10시에 문을 닫는다고 할 수도 있겠죠.
Now,
업데이트가 큰
there's a
업데이트라.
lot, but we also have one more thing. Developer preview. Wherever you're watching live, you'll be able to go ahead and watch it on April 9th at 9:30.
9시 3분? 9시 3분? 9시 1시 반? 1시 반에 하네?
a.m. Pacific stuff that you were other emblem, which you can see here. If you have Into the Light stream, go ahead and also unlocked the emblems that you got as a result of this show, or that we're you Guardians out there working on for Into the Light. Thank you so much for that. Then the emblem, so they'll stick wherever you're watching live.
이게 방송을 9시 30분에 한다는 거지 서버 자체는 일찍 닫을 거예요.
Be able to go ahead and watch it on April 9th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. That you were other emblem, view time, we're having available, but in chat. Thank you anyway to find enough to represent have here. Teams are obviously greater than heroes, and we're firm believers in that. And you're all great examples of that whole scenario.
임팩트는 확실히 크거든요. 근데 그렇다고 이번에 정리할 내용은 딱히 많지는 않네요. 임팩트가 크긴 해. 근데 그렇다고 해서 뭐 딱히 많이 공개된 게 실현회장 맵이 워낙 이야기한 게 많다 보니까 정리할 게 딱히 많지는 않네요. 뭐 그나마 짜잘짜잘한 정보들? 그렇게 해석이 될 것 같습니다. 딱히 이번 주 업데이트는 따로 없네요. 감상평을 이야기하면은 감상평은 역시 전설 무기 없는 건 아쉬움? 이건 추후 공개가 될 것 같긴 한데 언급도 없는 건 좀 그러네. 근데 이거 말고는 나름 만족스럽다. 별개 정보들도 끄락저락? 새로운 빛 스킵은 좋은 듯. 솔직히 한국인들 새로운 빅 컨텐츠 극혐했음. 그래서 이거 스킵하면서 바로 들어가는 것도 나쁘지 않을지도? 그리고 뭐 또 본다면은 커스터마이징이 생각보다 빨리 나왔다? 전 이거 저는 이거 5월 정도 생각했거든요. 5월 예상했거든요. 네, 4월이면 빠른 편이지. 오십라 방어는 그 매칭을 닫을 수 있어요. 물론 이게 처음 시작할 때. 시작할 때. 제가 알기로는 그러거든요. 그리고 매칭이 없던가? 기억이 안 나. 기억이 그 뭐지? 정보 정립이 제대로 안 됐어. 매칭이 없죠? 약간 헷갈리네. 그래서 굳이 50라 방어든 신경 안 써도 되지 않나? 어차피 해빛 사람들은 10라운드 매칭하면 되잖아. 이거 선택지가 이것밖에 없음. 오신라 피곤할 때? 그러면 그냥 30라까지 하고 포기해요. 혹시 더 할 필요가 있나? 50라까지 갈 수 있고 거기까지 네가 시간을 쏟으면 보상을 줄게 이거잖아요. 그러니까 매칭을 막은 거지. 시간이 부족하면 20에서 40까지 하고 그만둬. 선택이잖아. 아, 맞다. 현재 지금 오늘부터 시작되는 새로운 강철 깃발. 아니, 파이팅. 그죠? 유탄도 중간에 끊으면 되는데 주는 게 맨 마지막까지 가서 주는 게 워낙 많다 보니까 꾸역꾸역 돌리는 거지. 맹공격은 상자 2개인가 3개 더 줄걸요? 그 뭐지? 10라만 해도 장비가 나오고 그리고 그 토큰 이 용기의 트로피 이거 모아서 상자깡 해도 되고 그리고 현상금도 맹공격에게 효과가 크지만 다른 활동을 해서도 효과를 볼 수 있음. 그러니까 굳이 장비 파밍만 한다면 맹공격 50은 선택이죠. 그죠? 슈퍼 블랙을 빠르게 얻고 싶다면 50 나가 맞긴 하겠지. 근데 이게 빠르게잖아요. 느려도 준다고. 선택이라고 강요 아니라고. 하지만 슈퍼 블랙은 반 강요가 맞지. 그리고 50나 업적? 있겠지. 그러니까 업적이지. 업적. 이걸 뜻풀이까지 해야 돼? 그러니까 무결점이 있고 무결점이 업적이 있지. 도심바 업적이 없는 것도 문제지. 소환자가 좋긴 한데 비슷한 로스 아라고 파밍하세요. 프레임 똑같고 맹공격 있는 거 똑같고 데미지 특성 있는 거 똑같고 기본 특성 똑같고 대신에 이게 숙련자가 있느냐 없느냐가 다른 거지. 스탯이 다르지. 그래서 저 같은 경우에는 그래서 저는 무결점 안 하잖아. 선택이니까. 라이브 켜져 있냐고요? 라이브 꺼졌어요. 라이브 꺼졌어요. 아 뭐야? 그럼 나 이거 전리품 못 봤네. 이런. 왜 이거 드롭스 효과 못 봤지? 왜 이게 3시에 부족하다 나오지? 이상하네. 아 뭐야? 나 다 봤는데. 억울하네. 체크가 안 됐나 보다. 살짝 불편하네. 뭐 어쩌지? 뭐 어쩌면 어쩌. 그런 거 없는 셈 쳐야지. 모르겠어요. 그건 오류인지 아닌지. 솔직히 문양간 관심 없어서. 문양은 뭐 준다니까 하는 거지. 여기 그게 추가됐네. The Final Shape Developer Gameplay Preview 이벤트. 개발자 게임 미리 보기. 4월 10일 오전 1시 30분. 1시 30분에 개발자 게임 미리 보기. 오전 2시에 빗속으로 트레일러. 그럼 저도 게임 한번 들어가 볼까요? 아 맞다, 이거 업데이트 그거 업데이트 없으니까 상관없을려나? 서버 점검 아니지 않나? 서버 점검인가? 이제 게임 들어가는 거라서 몰라요. 서버 점검은 아닌 것 같은데. 아니네, 서버 점검은 아니네. 강철 깃발. 이거 2배구나. 얘가 나왔네. 이거 살 사람 무조건 사세요. 얘가 나왔네. 한서피 까마귀씨. 오, 이게 나왔네? 야, 이게 나왔네. 이거 이거 꽤 그 뭐 인기 많을 텐데. 이거 방어구 장식 나왔네. 방어구 장식 사실 분들은 사세요. 예, 전 샀어요. 애매야. 애매야도 오랜만이다. 얘도 오랜만이다. 얘는 자주 봤던 것 같은데. 이거 이제 다음 주부터 계속 나올 거예요. 이제 이걸 팔기 시작했다면은 매 주마다 이게 나온다는 소리거든요? 매 주마다 나온다는 거예요, 이제. 이거잖아요, 이거. 매 주마다 나온다는 거예요. 팔 나왔으니까 다리 나왔고, 이제 이게 3개 나온다는 거예요. 무조건 나온다는 거, 이거. 무조건 나온다는 겁니다. 아닐 건 없는데. 현상금 좀 돌아야 되나? 강철 깃발. 강철 깃발. 이거 이제 딱히 뭐 추가된 건 딱히 없네요. 맞아, 이거 받아가지. 이거 받으세요. 이거 받아, 빨리. 동점력이 아 맞아, 동전벽에 팔겠지. 이거 파니까. 근데 이거 왜 판매 종료가 안 됐지? 이거 오늘이면 판매 종료되지 않았나? 오늘까지인가 이게? 내일 끝나나? 4월 3일까지라 했으니까 오늘까지인가? 자, 여기까지 전원 방송하도록 하겠습니다. 지금까지 방송 와주신 분들한테 감사의 말씀을 드리면서 지금 들어왔다 해도 죄송합니다. 이제 방송해야 할 때가 왔어요. 저는 이제 그 리셋 영상 만들 준비하고 그래야 돼가지고 저는 이만 방송 종료하도록 하겠습니다. 그럼 모두들 좋은 사냥, 좋은 파밍 되시고요. 저는
쫀밤 되세요.
예, 감사합니다. 그럼 저는 이제 이번 주 주말에 다시 방송 키도록 할게요. 그럼 이만 방송하겠습니다. 좋은 밤 되세요.